What's happening? It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles live, often imitated, never duplicated. I hope everybody's well out there. I'm excited to see all my friends. I feel like it's been a long time. What's up, Lenny? What do you say? What's going on in Forest Hills? Hey ho, let's go. You excited about that Crazy Eddie show? Come on now. You know what, Lenny? You just reminded me that Sunday, November 7th at the Barry Electric is the next Back to the New York Hardcore Roots show that we are doing. I also want to mention that at the same event is the book release. Upstairs is the book release for the New York Hardcore Chronicles Volume 1, 1980 to 1989, 5 years in the making. What's shaking? So downstairs, Dog Eat Dog, Kids Never Die, Crazy Eddie featuring Lenny, and Dead Crew. Upstairs, we're going to be having a little book release in between the bands, so don't be shy. Come on out. Drew, I'm zooted. Okay. That show's going to be nuts. Yes, Brian. It's going to be good. Hey, Drew, how are the shows in California? The shows in California were good. They were good. They were good. One was good. The other one was excellent. The thing is, we got off the plane in Long Beach and found out that that's like the first day that they're enforcing the proof of vaccine, right? So, here we are. We probably lost 30% of the crowd at Alex's in Long Beach. So, yeah, the first one was It was I mean, I'll say this too about being in a hardcore band sometimes, the kind of band that I sing for. When you're up on a stage that's really high and there's a big disconnect from the audience, you end up with something like this. And it can be a little weird, Yeah, Joe. Actually, we played with them the next night. They were great. And I told the singer they were really good. They were good. Definitely. Yeah, right. The Gibson Firebird. Count Time was cool. But that first show was it was good, but the second show was epic. What's up, Chucky? Happy birthday, bro. Happy birthday, bro. We love you, dude. All right. Jimmy Hazel, 24/7 Spies. Rep that Bronx, huh? Come on now. Yeah. What's up, Frankie? Too far, step too far. Yeah. There was a lot of oi bands on the bill. When we played the second night in San Francisco, we played Crash Fest. It was great. It was off the hook. Yep. Oh, come on. Eddie was there. Eddie was ripping it up. Eddie from Powerhouse, ripping it up when we played. I got to say, man, it's inspiring when you're in a band and you're up there ripping it and everything's flying and you look and oh wow, there's Eddie from Powerhouse. All right, cool. So there you go, man. It was good. David says, "Hey Drew, I'm excited for this interview. Brett is someone you don't always hear from, and Ignite is amazing." Yeah, that's right. Come on now, get your shoes and socks on, kids. It's happening. It's happening today on the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by I'm not Drew Stone. New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Chacho's Tacos, and Generation Records. Things are moving slow. And Generation Records. Yep, there you go. Thank you, Eddie. We kilt it. Is that a kilt you're wearing, or are you just happy to see me? We kilt it. That said, let me think. Jesse Garcia says, "I'm thinking of quitting my job so I can catch the live broadcasts." Listen, bro. I would think twice about quitting your job. All right, let's bring on this guy, the hardcore shutterbug. What's up, dude?
What's up? How you doing?
I'm excited doing a show. I feel like it's been like a month already.
Yeah, no, it's crazy to take off like that. Hey, how Sean was feeling well? I know he had a rough week before you guys went off.
Yo, Sean's a trooper, man. He was great. He was great. You know,
he's the definitive hardcore right there. You know.
Yeah. He had COVID. He had COVID leading up to our trip. We weren't sure if we were going to cancel. Actually, you know what? Let me be frank. I never thought for a second about canceling.
Hello, Frank.
You know, but you know, he got through it and tested negative, and it was all good, and we went. You know.
Awesome.
So let's do photo of the day.
Yeah, let's do it.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, wrong answers only, please. This is photo of the day. What do we got? What do we got here? Wrong answers only, please. Let's see. What's up, Gary? Yeah, my voice is back for the most part. You know. Let's see. Is it Alfred E. Newman? Is it Steve Buscemi? Is it Antidote? But which Antidote? There's a couple of them now. Is it? You have to be more specific. You can't just be like, it's Antidote. Which Antidote? Is it Antidote NYHC? Is it OG Antidote? Is it Michael Rappaport? Is it Dehydrated? Is it Uncle Fester? Is it Phil Collins?
Poor Phil Collins.
Yep. Is it Devo? Is it Antidote NYHC? All right, that's more like it. Is it G.G. Allen? Okay. Is it My Old Crossing Guard? Is it the Serial Poets? All right, good. You sent me another one, right?
Yes, sir.
Let's see. Oh, okay. All right. Well, this is a little bit different. And yo, you know what? You can't front on this dude. Don't front on this dude because
there you go.
Don't even joke when it comes to this guy because he's, you know, that's a little bit of an odd shot of him. But is it Buster Bloodvessel? Is it Youth If Today? Is it Kenny G? All right. That's right. Maddie's my right. Does anyone know who this is? Yeah, right? Wildcard looks like he's the youngest member of H2O. There you go. Yep. All right, tell us what this is, bro.
Well, this was actually a fantastic weekend. H2O did 2 nights. I went to the second night at La Poussin Rouge in the city, and it was an incredible. This show was supposed to happen like a year ago, but it was rescheduled because of COVID, and it was H2O, Shut Down, Fahrenheit 451, Be Well, Cruel Hand, and Reaching Out. And Maddie is playing guitar in H2O. And what was also really cool was that Maximus Morse is playing drums in H2O.
Who is?
Toby's son. And he killed. He was fantastic. In
Really?
fact, the funny thing is I'm watching Max play, and I look over, and Todd Friend is like next to me.
Why wasn't he playing?
I don't know. I didn't ask him. But they were great. I mean, H2O is so much fun, and Matt was, adding Matt to the mix was fantastic. As Adam, just a great band. They just
and what was the venue again?
La Poussin Rouge, LPR.
That's a weird place for a show like that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's only the second time I've ever been there. I was there once for Off. It's right around the block from Generation Records, and I think it's a great room. I really do. And
Sid says Todd's going through a couple of health issues, but not serious.
Oh, okay. Good. Sid was there spinning, you know, it was
Lenny says it's the Old Village Gay Club. Hello.
Lanny, by the way, killed it. You know, Fahrenheit guys, so much fun. And
I don't think that's the old. Is that the? Yeah, you might be right. That might be the Old Village Gate. You might be right.
yeah, it was a great night, and I got plenty of pictures of all the bands from that night, so we'll be seeing them in future episodes. And actually, it was Fahrenheit singer's 50th birthday that night as well. So it was just like a super fun weekend. And,
I don't want to say nothing, but there is some chatter going on about getting Fahrenheit to play another show. You know, in you know, for our fam. You know.
I think that would be the right thing to do.
Do the right thing.
You know, that would be awesome. And the reaching out kids they were really good they're just getting better and better, you know, the more they keep at it. So
right on.
It was a lot of fun. It was just and you know, like the two bands I had never seen before, Cruel Hand and Be Well, were both really, really good.
I heard good things about Be Well. We got to get that. We got to get them down into the spot too. You know?
For sure.
Yeah.
I think they're from Maine. So.
Oh, how was Shutdown?
Oh, Shutdown were awesome. I'm sad. You'll see in a couple of future episodes. I got some sick pictures of them. I can't wait to show everybody.
Sick pictures? Like they were sick?
They were sick. I tell you.
I got some sick pictures of them. I don't want to see sick pictures of anybody. Like I want to see people at their best. I don't want to see people sick. All right, bro. Get back to work, man.
Yeah, I got to get back to work. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
See you in a bit. All right, there you go. It's the Hardcore Shutterbug, Steven Messina. You are currently watching the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Chacho's Tacos, Generation Records, and Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, located in Lakewood, Colorado, is the Rocky Mountain headquarters for all things punk, hardcore, and metal. Established in 2014, they have the largest selections of CDs, shirts, stickers, patches, and accessories between Chicago and Los Angeles. Goddamn electric. From the pit to the ditch, they got your back. Get in touch with them at www.chainreactionrecords.com. Also, come on now, New York Hardcore Comics opened in 2013, selling comic books, punk rock and hardcore memorabilia, toys, statues, skateboard decks, vinyl, and all things horror. We love helping bands push their demos and new tracks, so please stop by and drop off your new music. We have in-store events like Magic the Gathering and Warhammer tournaments, plus meet and greets with fans and some live performances. Open 7 days a week and shipping worldwide. Find us online through Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and eBay, located at 117 Main Street in Dobbs Ferry, New York, and NewYorkHardcoreComics.com. All right, I'm ready. You're ready. We're ready. It is that time. Pow!
Ragbone! 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 Ragbone!
Brah. All right.
Yo, what up? I'm the shit. What up?
Hey, wait, you know what? Before we get into it, I want to announce a show that's coming on. I know it's someone that's pretty dear to your heart. Halloween. Halloween, kids. If you're not out there trick-or-treating, actually, this is going to happen in the afternoon. Maybe it's before you go out trick-or-treating, but a special guest. He hasn't said much in public lately. He's been going through some health issues, but on Halloween, we have Mr. Eddie Sutton of Leeway coming on the show.
All right. The enforcer, bro.
Turn around, face me. Right?
And good for Halloween, right?
Yeah.
That was a classic Halloween show.
Yeah, right?
Elephant outfit on. That's like how I visioned Eddie for years and years, you know?
Turn around, face me.
A master of the game, you know? A true baller in every sense of the word, bro.
Yep.
We wish him well.
Well, we got him coming on, Is Brett coming back? Listen, he hasn't even gotten here yet, Skipper. What's your rush? We're 13 minutes into the show, bro. Yeah, I'm really running him through the show today, let me tell you. All right. Proud sponsor. Yeah, buddy. Come on now, New York Hardcore Comics. Love you, Lee. Love
What up,
you, Debo.
guys? Debo.
Yep. All right, Rat. What's going on?
What's up, guys? So I'm sure a lot of you from the city know that this past weekend was the New York City Comic Con at the Javits Center. And I obviously didn't go. I don't really like crowded rooms like that. I don't really like that show as much anymore. But I did go meet up with a friend down there. And I just want to show you this bitchin' ass shirt I got off my friend Chris Miles.
Oh, nice.
Up, bro. The TV shirt, Planet of the Apes, right? So, yeah, he met me out front real quick on the sidewalk, and he also threw this to me, which is very cool. This is super cool. It's a sticker, and these 3 images were the iron-on transfer you could have bought back in the day and iron it on your own shirt. So he's cool with the kitschy nostalgia stuff, you know. Super cool sticker. And then, like I said, I didn't go into the Comic-Con, but I do the flea market on the weekend. So I grab myself, I usually get Marvel. I grab some DC. These are some nice 20 centers. I got them for $1 a piece. World's Finest was like Batman, Superman. I used to like DC when I was younger. I used to dig the Flash. But I'm more of a Marvel guy. Some Plastic Man.
Oh, that looks good, man. I'm feeling that.
Yeah, Batman.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
Demon.
I love The Brave and the Bold. That's one of the DC
cool.
comics I like. Yeah.
Etrigan the Demon. He had a cool costume.
Yeah, I like the Demon. Yeah.
You know, Detective Comics is and they always made these super big 100-page issues. You know.
Hey, what is that? One of It's
a Hoya hat.
It's a Hoya hat, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I like this 4-parter. I found this #1 for $1. It's a graphic novel, The Cult Batman. And then I knew you'd dig this one. I used to love the Marvel Westerns.
Oh, that's a good one, bro.
Kid, right?
That's awesome.
Yeah. And then, you know, I love the classics, bro.
Oh, come on now. I used to have that, bro.
49, Fantastic Four. And that's a key issue. That's when Namor steals Sue Richards. And like he
always had a thing for Sue Richards, bro.
Yeah, he like steals her from Reed, and it's funny because the writing is like, you know, it's real, like she loves me, and you know, for little kids, you know, that's a heavy topic, bro. So I don't really have a lot, you know, I haven't been shopping as much. I'm actually getting ready to do a big sale.
Yeah, I have that. Hold on, hold your horses.
Up.
Yeah, here you go. That's going on when? Saturday, right?
Saturday, right on my block here.
All right, I'll come down.
Yep.
I'll come down because it's outdoors, man, and I gotta get tested before I go see my dad. You know.
Yeah, it's a huge block party. You know, it's like a flea market that my whole community does once a year. We haven't done it in 2 years, and I'm basically bringing out everything out of the apartment, and just
I'm sure Stella's happy you're getting all that crap out of the apartment.
And it's you think
get it out of the house.
Yeah, you think you got stuff cheap from me at the shows? I'm talking $2 comics. The magazines are $5. The t-shirts are going to be $10. So really quick, let me show. I got tons of stuff coming. Come on, let's keep it moving here. I got some Super 7 stuff on the deck. I got it all, bro. I got He-Man on deck. So everything you've seen on the show, you know, for sale Saturday. Please come out, support. It's kind of a party. You know, we'll be out there.
He's right near Madison Square Garden, between 7th and 8th Avenue and 26th Street.
8th and 9th on
8th and 9th, right? I'm sorry,
but you can't miss it. And you know, London Terrace, that's up the street from me, you know, they did theirs, and I went and did recon on it. It's lame, you know. You could tell they're just old people that pull the same box out of their closet every year and do the same.
Hoping some sucker's going to buy some crap, right?
But our sale that Penn South does here, and we go all out, man. It's the whole street.
All right, bro. Let's roll. I'll talk to you later.
Can't wait for the show today. Integrity, like you say, out of my wheelhouse a little, but I will say this about Integrity.
No,
I've seen
Ignite.
But you know,
Come on, bro.
there's the point of what I'm trying to make. There's a lot of those straight edge bands that, like, if I seen them live, I know I would go off to them. They have any heavy energy, but I might not have all their records and stuff like that. But
All right, I'll talk to you in a bit.
yeah, man. We'll see you
All
guys later.
You can always count on Rat Bones to come on the show and say something totally awkward and inappropriate. That much we can all agree on. He's going to have a hard time. He's going to have a hard time beating when he came on the Paris show, talking about asking him, hey, my favorite record is the record that you don't play on that they swiped all your songs from. Oh, jeez. That was mint. Anyway, here we go. Let's just jump right into it and bring our guest on, huh? Here we go. Let me make sure everybody's okay. All right, everybody seems okay. Today's guest is an American bass player, songwriter, hailing from Orange County, California. As a founding member and for almost 30 years, 5 studio albums and numerous world tours, he is known for his work with the band Ignite. Please welcome, coming at us from lovely Huntington Beach, California, Mr. Brett Rasmussen. Buddy.
What is up, Drew? How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fantastic. It's a very hot and warm here. I had to put a blanket up on the window because it's so bright, that California sun coming through. You know what I mean?
I was just out there, man. Yeah.
Which makes me, I need to apologize to you. I know we talked last week and you were playing basically 20 minutes down the road and I told you I was coming, but completely slipped my mind that
the
Dodgers game 1 versus the Giants. I had to watch the game and then
and you know what? It was on.
We got shut out.
Alex has had these, like in the outdoor part, they had all these TVs out there. So a good part of the crowd was out there watching the game. And even I was peripherally watching the game. And it looks like it wasn't a very good game for the Dodgers.
No, by the time the game was over, we got shut out 4-0. And then I looked up at the clock on the wall and you guys were into your set. And I was like, all right, I'm not going to make it down. So apologize. But that leads me to this question for you. I've been playing shows. I played a show every year from 1987 till the pandemic hit to 2019. Right.
Sure.
How good does it feel to get back on stage? Because I haven't got to play a show yet.
Well, we've kind of played through it.
Okay.
We did a couple streaming things, and you know, we've been kind of playing through it for the most part. But you know, it took a minute before we played a real bananas show. Like you know, we played the A7, and we played the Bowery Electric, and that's like, you know, that's our wheelhouse. Those are our people. It feels great, man. You know, it's great. I mean, I'm sure you can relate. I mean, at this stage of the game, at our age, I've learned since I was a teenager to sort of channel everything into when I get on stage and just blah, you know. When I was doing it as a teenager, you know, it was like having sex for the, you know, early on. You know, oh my God, I can't, you know. Now I sort of, man, when I do it, I all the stress and all the stuff that's grinding on me, I just channel it, you know.
Exactly. My girlfriend, then wife now, she was backstage with me before we were going to go on a show at House of Blues, and we're just sitting there super calm, and then we walk on stage and we go do our thing. We're jumping around, jumping off the drum risers, screaming and yelling. She goes, after I got off stage, she's like, you were so calm, and then you went on stage, you just went nuts. It was the first time that she'd seen us, and you hold that all in, then you let it go on stage.
Yeah, and it's like I've said this many times. It's like being the front man. You know, I get beat up. You know, I get knocked around a lot and get jostled, and it's almost like I know I'm gonna get hit. It's like it's sometimes it's hard to get in the mindset that I know I'm gonna get hit by a truck. It's hard to sort of be like, you know, how like I know I'm
going to share some spit and some breath with these kids. I'm going to get hit. It's part of the deal.
Right.
It's what you signed up for.
Hey, so you know, I was going to ask you, hey, what's the latest? But I got to say, I know the latest is that Ignite has a new vocalist, and I got to say, man, wow, you guys really scored, man. Tell us about it.
Thanks. I mean, it was a process, right? I mean, the whole thing, and it was weird that it was timed with this pandemic. I mean, Zoe leaves the band right at the end of 2019. We have no idea what's coming around in 2-3 months. The whole world gets shut down. And for me, I'm in a band. I work at the Coachella Festival. I print merch for touring bands, and I'm part of a restaurant. So all four of my whole world gets completely squashed.
Oy.
So yeah, so I got nothing going on. So I got time, right? So we sat down with the guys. We sat down together, and me and Craig and Nick and Kevin, who collectively, I mean, I'm almost 30 years. Craig's been in the band. It's 100 years of being in Ignite together, right?
Wow.
So we, what do we want to do? So we're at a crossroads now where we can continue, we can not continue. So we decided that we were going to give ourselves 2020, the year, to find a guy. And if we found a guy, we were going to do it. And so then boom, March comes and the whole world gets shut down. You can't audition, guys. You can't get into a room. The whole process now is emails and demos. And so that whole thing got screwed up. So it was a challenge. And we talked to some guys in Europe. We talked to some East Coast guys. We got demos from a bunch of people, got together with a few guys here in LA, and nothing really fit 100% right that we were looking for.
And I got to say also, Zoli was a very gifted singer. He was like, he had some pipes, man. He had some distinctive pipes.
He's got like the best pipes in the game. I mean,
yeah,
like man. I mean, a true gift, right? That guy with that ability, that natural ability. And so it was going to be a challenge to find somebody to fill the shoes. So I was talking with our drummer and I said, we got to get a guy who can hit these notes. And Craig, our drummer, is a metal guy. And I said, there's got to be somebody in the metal world that can sing, that would want to be in Ignite, that would be a good fit. And he said, well, let me hit up my buddy Eli, who plays guitar in Holy Grail, and see if he knows anybody. Right. And Craig didn't know Eli could sing at the time. And Eli's been a big fan of Ignite and friends with Craig for years and years and years. And he put a demo together, sang on one of our songs, and we were like, oh, we got to get in the room with this guy. So literally like the next week, we got in the room with, there he is. We got in the room with Eli. It sounded great in the room, and we were working on new songs literally the following week. And he could cover the old stuff, and exciting to look ahead to the future, right? That was the whole thing. We needed somebody that we could sit in a van with, that was cool, that could write songs, that could tour, that was talented. And that's not easy to find, you know what I mean? And it was super natural. It fit great. The vibe was cool right from the get-go.
Was there any point where you thought, like, maybe we're not going to find that, maybe we're not going to find what we're looking for, and maybe this might be the end of it? Did that come up at any point?
Absolutely. I mean,
well, that's horrifying.
Yeah, I mean, doing it for this many years, I checked a lot of boxes, toured the world a ton of times.
Yeah, I hear you.
Asia, Canada, Europe, I mean, South America, all over the States. But we really wanted to do it because we wanted to have fun. We wanted to do it for us. We don't owe anything to anybody. We wanted to find a guy and go out, record a record, get on the road, play shows, and continue doing what we love. And me and the guys love touring together. We hang out when we're home. We hang out on the road. It's a tight-knit group, and it would have been a bummer. Go ahead.
It's nice, and we were just there with Antidote, which we now rebranded Antidote NYHC.
Yep.
We just wanted to have guys in the band that we could hang out with, that you could get in the van with, that we could do stuff socially with.
Yeah.
And I mean, and I'm not saying that's your situation, but I know for me and for us, we just wanted to like really be a band again, you know?
Totally. And you're with guys in a band for 25 years. Sure. And I mean, you can look at, Agnostic Front, Pennywise, Bad Religion, Tear, Hatebreed, Killswitch. Dude, lineups change. Yeah. And bands are always evolving. I mean, H2O, you just saw them the other night. They've gone through changes, and it's like,
Right.
it's kind of what we do. If you're gonna do music for this amount of time, there's going to be lineup changes. There's going to be people changing. It's hard to stay on the same page musically, personally, the business side of thing. Those are all factors that go in, and it's hard to keep that, that consistent vision the whole time.
For sure. And I know for myself and for us, I say, thankfully, there's been a precedent set before us by, bands like Cro-Mags, Molly Hatchet, that like, so it's not like, oh my God, there's, they changed a member, or, there's two like whatever,
Totally.
it's all, like, get with it. If you want, whatever. So is this the new, are we looking at here? Is this the new release?
That's the 7-inch. That's the cover of the 7-inch. So that's got the song Anti-Complicity Anthem on it. And then the B-side is a very old Ignite song that we re-recorded called Turn, that we changed to Turn XXI, which is 21. So.
And Century Media put that out?
Century Media put it out, and the vinyl's actually coming out on Revelation. They're pressing the
that's cool.
Yeah, which is great. We have a great relationship with them, and it just made sense.
And is Mike Gitter your man over there? Mike
Gitter is handling A&R duties for Ignite at Century Media. And we've worked with him for forever.
We love him. He's been on the show. We've had him on as a guest. We love that guy.
First time we ever played New York City, we roll up, I think it was Coney Island High, and we pull up in the van, and Mike Gitter's standing there, and Porcel comes up on a bike. And it was just like, oh man, there's all these like New York hardcore guys right here. It was cool. It was cool. So we've known Mike from the beginning. We got a good relationship with him.
Let me ask you about this. Is this a pandemic shot? Because this is kind of impressive. What's going on here?
Well, that's actually up in Utah, southern Utah, and I'm an avid golfer. Big sports family. My dad's a big golfer. My uncle puts this big trip on every May in Hurricane, Utah, southern Utah, right by St. George. And we go play these courses that look like video games. And it's a blast. There's like 40 guys out there. We're out there for 3 days playing all these like immaculate courses out there. It's super fun. I
showed that picture to someone, and he said, wow, this guy's got great form. I want to bring on a fan of your golf form. That's my dad, Arnie Stone. Hey, Pop.
What's up, Arnie?
That's a hell of a swing there. Very powerful swing.
I put some time in, so yeah. I work on my game quite a bit. It's a lot of fun.
How far do you hit it? Straight?
Straight? Straight, not that often. No, I'm just kidding. I can hit it over, 250, 260 on my drive. Nothing too crazy. I'm not like these guys that are hitting at 400 yards now.
Dad said it reminded him of Sam Snead.
Oh, I will take that every time. I'll take that every time. That's like saying my jump shot looked like Michael Jordan's. Thank you.
Well, as a kid, I caddied, and the pro on a 9-hole golf course was Tommy Armour Sr., right?
Yep.
And he was on the 9-hole golf course. And then on the 18-hole course was Jimmy DeMeritt, who won 3 Masters.
Yep.
Jack Berg Jr., who won, I think he won the Masters and the PGA. And then they would come up, Sam Snead and Ben Hogan would come up just for exhibitions.
Yep. That's awesome.
In the days before television, God knows, they probably got paid maybe $500 or $1,000. That was about it,
That's what the pros would say. They would say they wouldn't go play the British Open because it would actually cost them money to go do it. The purse was so small. Now it's millions and millions of dollars, but the purse was so small that the old school golfers wouldn't go over to England or Scotland to play the courses because it would cost them.
Well, this picture of you is really a powerful backswing.
I got a little bit of an over-the-top move. If you saw the next few frames, you'd see my shoulder coming forward. So I'm trying to fix that. But yeah, it's a fun sport. I grew up playing a ton of basketball. Well, I still play hockey, but a lot of other sports that golf is for the 40 and over crowd.
Well, I played golf almost 15. I guess I played it 70 years.
Oh, wow. That's
And
awesome.
now my back, I can't play anymore because my back and my legs. But it to me is like a death in the family, not being able to play. So I'm volunteering to the guys that I used to play with. I said, I'll just drive just to be on the golf course,
That's awesome.
just to
Yeah,
be
just to
out.
be out there with the boys, right? Mixing it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
You want to hear something interesting, Brett? You know, my dad grew up in the Bronx, and him and his crew, they were into playing golf. There's a public golf course. There's Van Cortlandt Park and there's Mashalou. But
Right.
you know, my dad, as teenagers, and him and his guys would go to the city-run golf course, and that's where they learned to play, right, Pop?
Yeah. Yeah. We were the only ones in the neighborhood who played golf because I caddied. I brought it to the neighborhood, and all my friends, we all played. You know, for the rest of our lives, we all played together, which was great.
It's contagious. I got all my buddies playing, and it's fun. It's like something that you can do up until way late in life. So it's a blessing.
All right, Pop. Hey, Pop. I'll see you on Monday.
See ya.
All
And
right, I love you, Pop.
take care.
All right.
Hit him,
What's that? What's that, Dad?
hit him long, hit him straight.
Yeah. Okay. All right, Pop. All right. Well, there you go.
That's awesome.
Welcome to the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, where
We talk about golf.
you never know where the horse is going to lead us. You know. Let's talk a little bit about you coming up. Like, did you grow up in a musical household? And who inspired you to pick up an instrument?
So I didn't grow up I didn't have like the grandfather who was the jazz drummer or anything that for the inspiration. Big sports family. My grandfather actually, quarterback at Utah State Aggies, honorable mention All-American. My cousins played baseball and basketball at Arizona State, UCLA. So big sports family. And I grew up playing sports. I was the captain of the basketball team in high school, golf, tennis, still play hockey. I play hockey with a bunch of hardcore guys from Instead, Death by Stereo, Black Spot. They've had a team together since 1991 called the Jokers, and I've been on it for like 5 years now. So try and stay active with sports, but that was the background, was the sports background. And but my parents had an amazing vinyl collection. So I would, you know, as a kid, 8, 9, 10, put those 70s big cans on with the big coily cord, plug it in and listen to Beatles, Zeppelin, Stones, Who, Quadrophenia. And then my dad, you know, was also big in more like classic rock at the time, Steely Dan, Doobie Brothers. So that kind of stuff is what I was really the first taste of music. And, but it was the Beatles that really stuck with me. Obviously, the first album I listened to was the 67 to 70 record, and a little unfair to all the other bands because that's like a greatest hits record. So, I mean, I'm just like, wow, Penny Lane, Sgt. Pepper's, these songs are amazing.
Sure.
And so that got me like really interested in listening to music.
And you grew up in Orange County, correct?
I did, yeah.
When did some of those infamous Orange County bands, come into your orbit? And maybe I'm being presumptuous here, but I would think at a certain point, you know, you're hearing Social Distortion, TSOL, right? Bad Religion, right?
So I wasn't in the hardcore punk scene at all in high school. I was the guys that I started my high school band with. We listened to like kind of like that dark UK stuff, Joy Division and Bauhaus and Chameleons. I was big to the Ramones and the Sex Pistols and Clash and all the stuff, the major label punk rock stuff from the late 70s. But probably about mid 80s to late 80s, I got my first taste of Minor Threat, first taste of Discharge, got a tape from a buddy at school. We put Minor Threat and Discharge on it. So we started listening to, so my group of guys started listening to hardcore and punk late 80s, probably like 87, 88. And then started getting into like the Social Distortion, the TSOL, more as I started playing in Ignite. So little late to the game there, but.
Our friend Hoya from Mabel says, Ignite are some of the first official white people I ever met.
So good. Met him in 94, and then we toured with them for like a month in 96. A lot of stories on that tour.
Listen, if you toured with Madball in 1996, you pretty much should have a medal pinned on you, bro.
Dude, well, here's the awesome thing. So Vinny Stigma was on tour with them too. He wasn't playing with them on that tour. He had retired from playing with them from the year before, and he was hanging out on tour. So we got Vinny stories, we got the Madball experience. We shared a bus for a month, and we were trying to. Well, speaking of Hoya, we were trying to get into Dye His Hair Blonde because we all had blonde ambition going.
Right.
We were like, Hoya, you gotta dye your hair. You gotta dye your hair. And he says, I'd look like a silverback gorilla if I dyed my hair. Hoya's the best. Hoya's the
Yeah,
best.
I'm a big Hoya fan these days. How did Ignite come about? I mean, you are at this point the only original founding member. Like, what was the impetus that pulled Ignite together?
Kind of a funny story. I was playing in a band after high school from like 89 to 91. We were more like a kind of a punk meets the Replacements type college indie rock band. And we were looking for a guitar player right at the end of the band in 91. And my singer had been in a band with Joe Foster, who I started Ignite with, the next year. And he came down, tried out for our band. And we were like, oh, this is cool. And we said, when do you want to get together again? And he was like, well, I'm actually leaving for Taiwan for 6 months tomorrow. And we were like, well, what are you doing here playing with us? He's like, oh, I just want to check it out and jam. So that band ended. And to be honest, I didn't think I was going to do music again on joining a band. I was going to college. I was just kind of doing my thing and kind of moved past the high school band and the post-high school band thing. And 6 months later, I get a phone call from Joe Foster. And I go, oh, hey, dude, how was Taiwan? He's like, awesome. He's like, I had to come home. I want to do music. He's like, I've joined this band called Mad Parade, which was like an 80s punk band, like along the lines of Addicts and Sex Pistols. And I was like, okay. He's like, I'm playing bass in the band. Okay. Well, what do you need me to do? Because I'm a bass player. He's like, well, why don't you come to practice tonight? I'll tell them that you're the new bass player and I'll play second guitar. And I go, well, you going to call them and tell them this? He's like, no, let's just show up. I was like, all right, I'm up for the adventure. So we showed up. He introduces me as the new bass player. He tells the guys he's been playing bass in their band that he's going to play now second guitar. So
nice.
We jammed with those guys for like a month and then decided that we wanted to kind of start our own thing. So that was like late 92. So, and it was just, let's start a band, have fun. Let's do a demo. Let's play a couple shows. There wasn't like any big like ambitions of touring the world or putting out an album or getting signed. Sure. It was just like, let's have fun. Let's write songs and have fun. And I think that's what made it shows. And I think that's what made it natural. It made it like there wasn't any big expectations. But it's crazy because you think at that time, 2 years before our band starts, 91, 92, the music scene shifts immensely towards heavy music. I mean, you got the Black Album comes out from Metallica, Nirvana, sure. Nevermind. You have the whole Seattle thing with Soundgarden, Pearl Jam, Rage Against the Machine puts out their first record. What else was going on? Pantera puts out their record. Like the whole popular music's shifting towards this heavier stuff. So for us, it was the perfect time to start to do a punk or a hardcore band. And in 93, when we actually started doing stuff, the Green Day and Offspring thing happened and the whole scene just blew up around us.
That makes sense. And it was pretty obvious that, at least from our perspective here on the East Coast, that those bands like Green Day and Offspring and Pennywise, as they grew, they pulled. They were sort of like, like the Wake. You sort of like they pulled a lot up with them, from that area.
Every festival wanted to put punk bands on. Well, festivals in Europe, America didn't have festivals yet. So literally, I mean, we started once we named the band Ignite in 93. We played our first real show in front of people December 30th, 1993. And like 8 months later, we're on a tour bus in Europe with Slapshot doing a 2-month tour with an album out, going to play a festival with Oasis. I mean,
wow.
That's like 8 months before we couldn't even play in front of 30 people at home. And, all of a sudden we're in Europe on a tour bus playing giant festivals.
What year was this?
1994.
I mean, for me over on this end of the country, you guys, I guess a couple years later, you put out Past Our Means. I guess that was 96.
Yep.
Wow. That record really, as far as like I'm concerned, that really kicked in the door, man. That was an incredible statement. That was a great record, man. You guys really, that was like, wow. I mean, in retrospect, looking back on it, your thoughts?
It was an album that we wanted to make more aggressive than our previous one. So we've had our full length out, Call on My Brothers. Had a lot of peaks and valleys. Love that record, but we wanted the Past Our Means EP to really kick everybody's teeth in. So we wrote a lot of like energetic, fast songs on that one, and just wanted to make a statement for us.
Yeah, it certainly did. And then you guys got pretty much off and running from there, right? Past Our Means, A Place Called Home, Our Darkest Days,
Yeah.
right? I mean, one thing about Ignite that I always recognize is you guys were not afraid to roll your sleeves up and get out there and hit the road, man. You guys really were a touring band. Is it safe to say that?
There was definitely a period where we were doing a lot of shows. You know, the last probably 10 years, it went down quite a bit, and then the amount of shows. But in the 90s to probably like 2002, we were doing hundreds of shows a year, and getting out there and grinding, and trying to open up new markets, trying to go to Japan, trying to go to South America, trying to go to all these places. Back then we would get actually letters in the mail. So you get a letter from like Singapore, you get a letter from Indonesia, and you're like, we want to go play these places. There's people there that want to hear our music. So it was like try and knock down every door we could,
Yeah, and you did. I mean, any particular places you remember in the 90s where you went to? Now, I remember because I was out with Biohazard, working with them at a certain point, and sometimes we'd go to places that hadn't really had this kind of music yet, and it was just it was outrageous, bro. Like going to like Argentina and Japan and Eastern Bloc countries was just like it was like the friggin' Beatles, bro. It was off the hook.
In '96, we went to Japan. Yeah, we went to Japan as well, and we had no idea what to expect. There's no way to get feedback on how many records you've sold there or what the scene is like. And our agent took us over there, and every show was packed. The kids went nuts, and then they got real quiet in between songs, and then they'd go crazy, and then they get real quiet in between songs. Japan was awesome, awesome experience. They wanted to hear what you had to say. Another really cool place we went to in '96 was the guys from the band Refused had us come up to Umeå, Sweden, and play a show up there. They put the whole show together. That was fantastic too. Fantastic.
What's this one from?
That's from Slovenia. That's from Punk Rock Holidays Festival. That was one of the last shows that I got to play.
Okay. I wasn't sure if this was a recent one or a little bit older.
That was 2019, I think. And we did like 2 or 3 tours that summer. And that was Punk Rock Holidays is an awesome festival.
Punk Rock Holidays. I don't think I've heard of that.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's in the middle of the forest. There's a river running by it.
That's awesome.
They have this stage that you can see all the trees around, and I think there's a good 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 people at this festival. There's a stage down by the river. They do it right there. It's one of the best festivals, I think, in Europe for punk rock music.
And this other one I have, which is titled Poland, where's this one? When's this one from?
Oh, yeah.
Obviously very pre-COVID, huh?
Dude, some of these shows in these tiny venues are so awesome. It's like the movie.
I love
Alien.
this dude I love the dude in the black. He's doing one of these. He's doing the like just like look at this guy is just living it. Good for him, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. In a club called Generator. I think is it in Warsaw? It might be. But that's one of those tiny shows where there's like an extra 100 kids in the room that shouldn't be there, and people are like climbing up across the ceilings like in the movie Aliens. I mean, you just look up and you're like, this is awesome. Yeah, no, for me, those are the most fun shows. Those packed, crazy shows and you can see, like you were talking about, a low stage. That stage is like 6 inches tall,
Yeah, those are great. I mean, I would assume through all the years that you've been touring, like when you look at sort of the itinerary, I mean, I got to think that there are certain places where you have probably like been to 15, 20 times through the years, right?
Like Berlin or New York City. It's funny, when I'm ever in those cities, I've been there so many times, I always wonder to myself, I wonder if this is going to be the last time I wonder when is going to be the last time I'm ever going to be in one of these cities. And I don't take it for granted. I go find the great restaurants. We go hang out. We have a blast when we go tour. It's a lot of fun. So
yeah. We're gonna take a break in a couple minutes, but and we're gonna bring TJ on and talk about the film. But let me
Awesome.
ask you because and I'm skipping around here, and I want to get this stuff covered.
Yep.
But I see that you guys are playing Punk in the Park, right?
That's coming up next month. Yeah, that's going to be our first show with Eli. So Pennywise guys were cool enough to put us on that show. A band couldn't play that had to pull off, so I called Fletcher, asked him if he could put us on the show. He obliged. So yeah, it's going to be a fun first show for Eli.
Oak Canyon Park.
Yeah, it's up in the canyon. It's right here in Orange County. Get
Yeah,
off
this
the
is
freeway.
this is like an Orange County gig. Look who's on this. You got TSOL, right? You got you guys. You got Fear. You got Pennywise.
Vandals.
Vandals. The Dickies, right?
Yep. A lot of DI. Yeah. Who else is on?
Yeah. That's cool. That's great. That's next month. Wow.
Yeah, it's coming up quick. So we're in the rehearsal studio.
Are you?
2-3 times a week right now, getting the live set ready. Yeah, and doing everything we got to do.
A little old, a little new, right?
Yeah. You have to mix it up, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And Eli's been a fan of the band for so long. He's like, hey, do you mind if we play some of these older songs that you guys don't normally play? And yeah, so it's fun having a new person kind of give their input.
Yeah, that's great. Nice to have some new blood in there. And you know what? I skipped this photo. I forgot about it, but I said, you know, this photo here, this is great, bro. I love this photo. And I was like, dude, I'm like, is this the sequel to what was it? Wilson? What was that?
Dude, yeah. That's
is
Tom
this the
Hanks
sequel
movie.
to Tom Hanks' Castaway?
Oh man, that was
is this
that's
what happens?
That's what happens in Orange County when COVID hits. Oh man, look at that. So my wife was not excited about that look at all. I got the John McEnroe thing going up top. You
kind of do.
I got the Castaway beard going down below. Look at all the gray, and my beard's kind of red. So that was when we shaved it off. That was like the last 2 or 3 minutes of the existence of the beard. I kept the afro for like a week, and then that went.
But it's kind of cool once in a while to let it all grow, so you could sort of like gauge, like, how gray am I, right?
How old can I possibly look? Pretty old. I don't even need that like face app to make you look old. I just needed to grow my hair out, and wow, that's a pretty bad look.
That's great. People are digging that. The two Ignite records, Our Darkest Days and War Against You. You work with Cameron Webb. He co-produced it. Is that fair to say?
He produced it, like not any co-produced about it.
And of course, Cameron, he worked with Motorhead. I'm a big fan of those Motorhead records he did.
Yeah.
How did you get involved with him, and why? Something must have worked. You stuck with him for a couple records, right?
So we actually worked with him on all the pre-production for A Place Called Home. We did all the demos with Cameron, but at that point we were signed to TBT Records, and they wanted a bigger name because Cameron was mostly an assistant engineer at that point, but he had worked on like big records, Dr. Dre records, Limp Bizkit stuff, Incubus. I mean, he'd worked on a ton of really huge records as an assistant engineer, and then he was looking to kind of make his own name. We got together with him, did all the demos, told the label that we wanted to do the album with him, and they told us no. We ended up doing it with Tom Wilson, who did a ton of records. He's most famous for probably that Offspring Smash record that sold a zillion records. So we did the record with Tom Wilson, and then some of the stuff just didn't come out how we wanted it. So we went back in the studio at the end of the record and did a bunch of extra stuff with Cameron. So he was actually involved on A Place Called Home. And dude, Cameron is intense. He's super involved, super passionate about the music and the band. He's like the extra member. So, and we were blown away with how involved he was and how much he cared. And it was kind of funny. I went into his studio the other day, and he's working with another band that I didn't even know. And he's giving them that same treatment, that same like intensity. And I felt like I was getting cheated on. No, I'm just kidding. But I just went to show that how much he cares about all the projects that he works on. He puts the same kind of energy into stuff. So yeah. And then with this new record, working with him again, working on probably like 2 months of pre-production, getting the songs.
Our Darkest Days and A War Against You is like 10 years in between.
It was a long time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Zoli was Zoli went and joined Pennywise for like 4 of those years, from like 2009 to 2013, and then we jumped back in with Cameron and made another at night record.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, cool. Hey, let me take a break. Let me shout out some sponsors.
Do it.
Let me push a couple shows, and we'll come back and we'll bring director TJ Hoffman on along with us.
Awesome.
Well, there you have it. It's the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Our guest today is Brett Rasmussen from Ignite. We are sponsored by New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Chacho's Tacos, and get rid of that banner. And since 1992, Generation Records has been a mainstay in the New York metropolitan area music scene. Today, they offer a diverse selection of new and used rock, jazz, indie, hip-hop, punk, hardcore, metal, blues, soundtrack, and, believe it or not, reggae LPs, as well as T-shirts, posters, and other merchandise. They buy used record collections and music memorabilia and will pay you top dollar for them. House calls made for large collections in the tri-state area. Call or email generationrecords@gmail.com and follow them on Facebook or on Instagram. Also, come on now. What's up, Vlad? Organic Grill is a vegan restaurant located in East Village in New York City at 123 First Avenue, featured in New York Magazine, New York Times, and, amazingly, Veg News. Their dishes have won numerous awards, including Best Veggie Burger. They make their own cheeses, sausages, and burger patties, and every dish on the menu can be made gluten-free for all you gluten-free motherfuckers. This year, they're celebrating their 21st anniversary, and they're all about having a great time while enjoying amazing, clean food. They have now fully reopened for business. Get your ass down to The Organic Grill, www.theorganicgrill.com. Also, while we're at it, DTFM Vinyl Distro is a record store that specializes in underground music, punk, ska, hardcore metal, and more. Located in the heart of Fargo, North Dakota's industrial district. Shop in person or online at www.dtfmvinyldistro.com, where the motto is death to false metal. Want to mention a couple of upcoming shows. Next up this Sunday, Mr. Frank Bello from Anthrax coming on the show. He's got a new book coming out. Look out below. He has a new book coming out called Fathers, Brothers, and Sons, Surviving Anguish, Abandonment, and Anthrax. I'm reading the book now. It's really great. If you know Frank Bello, he's one of the really good guys in this business. The foreword to the book is written by Gene Simmons, and I must say, really, really strong, poignant, great words, man. So Frankie Bello's on this Sunday. This is going to be a big show. I hope you can make it. Also, we mentioned Eddie Leeway's coming up a week from Sunday. Coming at us from Wisdom in Chains, he has the new band Z9, formerly of Box Cutter, Richie Crutch Mancuso coming on the show. Let's get down. This is going to be good. Love Wisdom in Chains. Yes, prayers and positive energy for Roger. Absolutely. You know what? I want to say also that I want to dedicate this show to Scott Koenig, who managed Biohazard for many years. He was a good friend of mine. He passed away recently. Also, Sean Kilkenny from Dog Eat Dog, Murphy's Law. Both of them recently passed. I dedicate this show and a lot more to them. Scott, I miss you. I miss you already, man. It hasn't even sunk. It has not sunk in yet, and I don't want to get into it now because I'll get really upset. But it hasn't really sunk in yet. Wednesday, November 3rd. That's 2 weeks from today. It's our first of our Side Trips series. Adam and the Metal Hawks is coming on the show. These kids from Long Island, I love these guys. This is going to be a fun show. Adam and the Metal Hawks. Also want to announce that my new book, The New York Hardcore Chronicles, Volume 1, 1980 to 1989. It's available to all the patrons for free. Also, if you're not a patron, for whatever the reason, you bum, the book, the pre-order link is now up. Just went up today at www.stonefilmsnyc.com. The book is $24.95. Shipping in the US is $7. Shipping to Europe is $24. I can't do nothing about that. That's what they charge. That's what you got to pay. So the New York Hardcore Chronicles book, Volume 1, is out now. I'll show you. I'll give you a page so you can see a little bit what the book is like. It's really through the perspective of the Flyers. Here's a page that Craig Satari, Craig Satari's talking about on this page. You can see that's basically the format of the book. So, yeah, come on, there it is. That's what's happening. Please order the book. Please support the show. And as I said earlier, there is going to be a book event at the next Bowery Electric show on November 7th, the one with Dog Eat Dog. I will be every single book, you friggin' bum, is numbered and signed by the author, me. So it's a limited run. Every single book is numbered, and I'll be signing it. So, thank you, Lee. Anybody, be the first on your block to order this book. I will sign it for you. This is 5 years in the making. Of course, you can get a personal message in the book, Lenny. I'll be selling them at the show you're playing. So, yep, there you go. But yeah, this is 5 years in the making. This book, a lot went into this. So, please feel free to buy the thing. You know what I mean? What else? I want to shout out a couple of my latest patrons: Lisa Fierro, Scott Gajewski, Goran Mellon. I hope I'm getting that right. Nick Disbella, Joe Frank, Slimy Slim, Eddie Ahmed, Dave Roebuck, Dan Steely from King 9, Mike LaRouche, and Jimmy Kuskis. Thank you all for supporting on Patreon. If you are a patron, you're getting the book for free. All right. Here's the Patreon page. If you are a patron, the book is free. So if you've been on Patreon, get me your address. It's all you gotta do is pay the shipping. All right, got it. Okay. Goran Mellon. Meline? Is it Meline or Meline? I guess it's Meline, right? Do you need a passport for any of these shows? No, they're all in America. Yeah, if a show is in New York City, you have to show proof of vax. That's New York City, bro. What can I say? That is New York City. It's a crazy world. Listen, I'm not that smart. I basically exist on what do you call it? What's the word I'm looking for? I'm motivated by a couple things. Fuel and reproduction being two of them. What's up, Eddie? What else? All right, good. There it is. Once again, here's the banner for the book. I'll keep it up a little bit. Who's going to be the first to buy the book? Let me see. Is anyone? There it is. The first person has bought the book. Christopher Weinblad is the first person to buy this book. Christopher Weinblad. All right, brother. Well, thank you, buddy. I appreciate it. This one goes out to Christopher Weinblad. All right? My man. They did what at both shows? Oh, they did the vaccine. Yeah, right. Well, there he is. Chris Weinblad, my man. Thank you. There it is, you friggin' bums. Buy the book. Did I mention this? Antidote NYHC Scarred record release party. December 5th at the Bowery Electric with The Take, Enziguri Non-Residents, and Fire is Murder. Another banging show. This is it. Free show. New York Hardcore Chronicles proudly presents the Back to the New York Hardcore Roots music series. Free. The Take, Antidote, NYHC, Enziguri, Non-Residents, and Fire is Murder. So there you go. That's coming up too. I love playing the Bowery Electric. That's one of my favorite spots. All right. So that said, it's cheaper to fly to New York and buy the book than order it from Europe. I guess it's a good excuse to go back. Yeah, sure. Yeah, I know that. It's crazy how much it costs to mail stuff. Yes, it's a block from the old CBGBs, bro. It's actually next to the old Great Gildersleeves. That's where he is. Isn't that against everything hardcore stands for? Listen, Robert Woodbird, don't get your panties all bunched up, bro. This ain't the show to carry on like that. You want to go carry on with all that nonsense? Get on Facebook with it, bro. We're not trying to give a good goddamn and carry on about that stuff on this show. That said, let's bring our guest back on, Brad Rasmussen. Have I insulted enough? Have I insulted enough people?
You get testy. Look at you.
It's just like this show was created in the pandemic to create an alternative from all that stuff. We come on the show, we talk about the community and culture of music, not freaking getting into Republicans and Trump and the vaccine and, come on, man. Anyway, that said, just before we bring TJ on, I was doing my homework, and I read something that you said. Somebody asked you best piece of advice you've received in terms of pursuing your career, and your response was, in my recording studio class at Fullerton College, my professor Alex Sema told the class that anyone can push buttons on a recording studio console, play a guitar, or buy a piece of equipment. But if you can't work with people and get along with people, then you're not going to have a successful career in music, because it's all about relationships and working well with people. I thought that was incredibly poignant and was a testament to just your longevity in this business.
Well, I didn't get it at 18 years old when I was in college. Right. When I took that first recording class, I wanted to learn how to record, and I wanted to become a better bass player and do everything. And he said, throw all that away and just learn how to work with people. I was like, I get along with people anyway. So I didn't really get it till later, till I saw how important it was, how relationships work. And that's like from your agent to a band to a lawyer to, it's all really relationships in the music industry. And it's such a tight, small knit community. Everybody knows each other. So if you get pegged that you're a dick, it's hard to retract that, So just be cool to people. I mean, that's the easiest thing. That's basically what my teacher was telling me, get along with people and be cool, because your reputation will precede you.
There you go. Hey, let's bring on our other guest. Let me see. Where did I throw?
And a big thanks to TJ, who's coming on, because he's the one that made this whole thing happen.
Cool. Yeah, absolutely. Smug234406 says Brett shreds on bass. All right.
Thank you, sir.
You're a shredder.
I shred.
Dude, you shred.
I shred.
All right. Our next guest is the filmmaker behind the documentary film Roadie, My Documentary. It spans his 20-year career on the road with the bands Agnostic Front, Skid Row, MOD, and Ignite. Please welcome, coming at us from the Garden State of New Jersey, Mr. TJ Hoffman. Buddy.
Hey, guys. How are you?
There he is.
What are you, in a crypt there? Why is it so dark?
I don't know. It's New Jersey. It's cloudy today. Hey, Drew, I gotta say, man, your podcast is really one of a kind. And, I'm in that backstage on this web thing you got going and backstage. And then I hear all these names, and you talk about Hoya and you talk about Powerhouse, and it's like being at the Wetlands or CB's or Coney Island back in the day, when there was a show going on. Anybody and everybody at any hardcore show I'd have to run out back and open up the door to let them in. Hoya and Freddie are at the back, let them in. And like, well, the front door's open. I open the door. Vinny yell at me and scream at me. But there was no ticket. There was no guest list. It was a free for all in New York City. And these names are flying by, and I just keep, it's like 7 degrees of I guess for me, it's 7 degrees of agnostic front, because that's how I was brought into your hardcore family. I was kind of adopted, and it's so fun. And it just brings me back to that, the 96, 97 days of when I was introduced to the New York City hardcore scene, more or less. And that's how I met Brett and got to evolve in this business. So, kudos to you for doing this, and the people that are involved that are still like, it's great. It's great, bro. And thank you for all this. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah, for sure. And I'm very fortunate and that I started this show and it has a worldwide audience and people enjoy it and people support me doing it. This wasn't part of my plan. I'm a filmmaker by nature, and it's an interesting world now because more people know me from this show than being a filmmaker or being a musician. And that wasn't part of the plan, but I'm very, very fortunate. Hey, I want to shout out Billy Sven, Unity Worldwide Records, who is putting out the Antidote Scarred 7-inch in a couple of weeks. So
nice.
Well, yeah. And Laurent in France says, "Yo, TJ, big up." Eddie Medina from Powerhouse. Well said, TJ.
Love those guys.
Yeah, man. So TJ, real quick, sort of in a nutshell, how did your, we're backing it up here, how did your roadie career start per se?
Late 80s, New Jersey. Friends of mine were friends of this other band, a hair band, and they had a lot of clubs in New Jersey were upstairs or downstairs, and it was the big hair bands had the big Marshall stacks, and it was all about the gear, and they needed help bringing the cabinets and heads up steps, and it was like, Teach, bring a guy with us, and you could drink for free. Okay, I'm sold. And then those clubs actually had girls, so I get to have beer and girls and didn't have to pay. It was kind of like a free thing, and it was really cool. And I just kind of hung on to that, making that $50 a day, whatever. And then then I found out they were renting a van, so I was like, man, they rented a van for $69. I'll go buy a van, and in 3 shows I'll charge them $30. They'll save money, and then I can make more money, and it just kind of compounded like that. And then I started paying attention a little bit more. I was really intrigued about how sound worked, and strucking a guitar chord. The sound went through that little cable and comes out that loud. It was crazy to me. So I backed off the drinking a little bit, not all of it, a little bit. And
now, did you go to engineering school at some point?
I did, back in the day, to Sam Ash Music Institute.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I did a couple of years of that, whatever that, degree is, in the analog world, and learned 2-inch tape and learned mixing and all that stuff. And I was interning at Trax East in South River, New Jersey.
I remember this studio too, because and I remember the studio because wasn't that was like I'm trying not to confuse it with Big Blue Meanie, but MOD recorded there and all that, right?
Rhythm of Fear, yeah, the Rhythm of Fear record with Timmy and Billy,
right? Yeah, Timmy, right?
Dave Shavari on drums. It was so fun. And if the Billy and Dave, those 2 guys, it's nothing but your mother jokes and everything. The whole recording session. So I was interning at that studio when they were doing that record. And Steve, the engineer, was the bass player for a couple live shows. We did the Limelight with the Skate Nigs. It was a big Megaforce night. And I worked for MOD for that one show. And I got to be friends with Billy and Timmy. And then they did they did a toga party in upstate New York with the Functional Idiots. And it was so fun. By that time, Rob Machete had joined MOD. It was fun, and I just kind of evolved, got close to them guys, and then one day Billy says, "Hey, we're going to Europe for a month. You want to go?" And I was like, "Hands down, I'm in." And
wow,
That
going
was
to
it.
Europe for a month.
With Billy. I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
So you get going with and that was MOD, correct?
Yeah.
So you get going with MOD and you get out there and basically, I mean, I know a little bit about it, but it's a lot like working in the film business, being like a PA, where once you're in the PA circuit, you kind of go from one thing to the other, to another, right? And after MOD, right, you worked with, you went out with Skid Row, Agnostic Front, a couple of others, right?
Yeah. So Billy was after the couple of tours I did with Billy for a couple of years. He went on in '97. He went on to manage AF for the Victim in Pain reunion tour.
And I directed Gotta Go. I directed that video. Yeah.
Yeah. So Billy's like, we're going to Europe. You're going to go work for Agnostic. You know, he told me what I was doing. And I didn't know those guys from nothing. I had no idea what I was walking into, but I was going on tour and then going back to Europe. And I was like, I'm in, Billy. Yeah, you know, we had a pretty good working relationship. So there's Stigma and Roger, and they were, you know, open arms and accepted me. We did like the first 2 shows of that tour were at the Wetlands, like a Friday or Saturday.
Those shows were off the hook.
Oh my God.
TJ, that was crazy. Stigma. TJ, that was Stigma and you.
Yeah. But Drew, I came from this 80s big hair band type of gigs where backstage was roped off and I was changing programs on guitars and I had this, all these, you know, laminate meant something. And then you go to the Wetlands and it's a complete free for all. And there's kids are on stage and I'm like, oh my God, the gear, the stuff. And it took me a while to realize, wow, this hardcore is so different than a regular concert. And I fell in love with it. I fell in love with the energy and the whatever goes. And then you got guys like Stigma and then the love and the brotherhood within the hardcore scene, not only in New York, but worldwide. I just felt so at home. And I had bleach blonde hair. I had Air Jordans. I had sweatpants. I was a jock, but I was a drinking jock. And I was totally opposite of Doc Martens and Dickies and hardcore and Roger. And I know those guys asked Billy, like, what are you doing with this kid? Why is he working with us? You know?
Is that this?
That's one of them. That was 2000 on the Kiss tour, but I had that hair forever. Thanks to Brett, gave me the right toner to get it. But that's how, in '97, when we're doing the Victim in Pain tour, we did a festival in Belgium. And Drew, you were with Sub-Zero.
I was managing. Oh, that's it. I mentioned this to you, Brett. I was wrong. It was Belgium.
Bebop.
Was it Midsummer?
Airplane hangar.
Yeah, it was a Midsummer Hardcore Fest.
Exactly. So I was with AF. Drew, you were Sub-Zero.
Ignite
backstage was so fun. So fun. And that's where I met Ignite, because I looked like I kept getting the whole tour in Europe. People were calling me either Choke or Zoli. And I'm like, you know, I turn around and like, oh, sorry, because the blonde hair and everything. So Choke from Slapshot, maybe not so much. But man, when I met Brett and Zoli, I said, holy shit, like, this is crazy. We all look like we should be related. And from that show on, we were friends.
So that's wild that our 3 paths crossed at that moment, you know, and I remember vividly watching Ignite on stage and being like, these guys are fucking great. Like it's the first time I saw Ignite and I was like, wow.
That was a fun show. That was crazy. The
kids
were so into it.
You guys crushed it. And interesting how all 3 of us sort of intersected at that. You know, I was managing Sub-Zero. We were on the Misfits tour. Because I grew up with, you know, I know the Misfits guys, you know, going way back and friends with Doyle and Jerry and them. And I was doing some management. I got Sub-Zero on the Misfits' first European tour and so they were out doing Misfits. And I guess maybe there was a day in between or a day after, and we did that fest. And that's where I ran into the Agnostic Front guys, because I just did the video, right? And then Ignite. So yeah, interesting how everything intersected right then and there. So, you know, one thing I want to ask you about before we get into the film is I see behind. What's the plaque behind you? The Kiss. Is that from your Kiss? Tell us about what that is.
Yeah. So in 2000, Kiss Skid Row was asked to play on the Kiss farewell tour, and it was the last tour with Peter and Ace in the band, and we were the opening slot. Skid Row, Ted Nugent, and Kiss, and they were both managed by.
Sebastian was still singing.
No, Sebastian was out of the band.
Sebastian was out. Okay.
Yeah, a year before they were called Ozone Monday. Snake, Scotty, and Rachel. And they had a couple of different singers, and then they found Johnny Solinger, who came into the band in 2000, and we went right on the road.
Yeah.
I was friends with the drummer, and then I went on to work for those guys for a while. And it, in like, I remember 5th grade being a huge Kiss fan. And then as you get older, it's like the novelty wears off and whatever. And then once you go back and you see, I don't want to call it a concert. It's a show. It's a theatrical show.
For sure.
And the first show that we did in March and the last show in November, it was amazing. The first and the 137th show were like, we were stoked to go to watch it and see it. It was so fun. And the guys were gracious enough in the beginning to take that was the first week of the tour out in Arizona. And they signed something for me. And then I just collected ticket stubs and passes and put it together. And then ironically, my son now, who's 14, is a big Kiss fan, and he just, he loves it. So I kind of build, I want to call it a legacy, but my memories, there you go.
Yeah, that's all.
Vinny would say, "You're a Mama Luke, take that off." But what is that crap? You're not with Kiss. Stop it.
So you intersect at a certain point with Ignite, and you go out. How did that work? Hey, you look like one of us. Want to work for us? Like, how did that work?
I think it was. Hey, you look like one of us. You want a shot?
Exactly.
Right.
I mean, Brett. Refresh my memory. I think it was Rosie's where we really kind of kicked off and had a blast in Berlin.
Yeah, we did 3 shows with you guys. We did one near Berlin. We did the Munich show at Rosie's and that festival. Yeah, and then, because we connected with you guys right then, we hit the road with you guys in the States like a month, 2 months, no, 3 months later, right? For when you guys came out to the West Coast and did that run.
Yeah, we did the whiskey and stuff.
Yep.
Yeah, it was just one of those things, Drew, where it's just like, you meet people and you get along with them. And and Brett talked about it earlier, getting along with people. And I learned very early on, especially coming from the 80s hair band era and then jumping into the hardcore scene. I was the new kid. You can't be, and Brett loves this term, you can't be a punisher. You got to adapt to your environment. Otherwise you're going to be, blackballed. And I did really well with that scene and those guys. And I think I got a lot of respect for being called, the roadie for Agnostic Front. So I was accepted right off the bat. I wasn't looked so much of an outsider.
Well, I think part of it had to do, TJ, is you had a good work ethic, and I think that continues with what you do now. It's like correct me, Brett, or feel free to jump in. Is just from what I know about being in bands and managing bands, is early on bands bring their friends out, but then there comes a certain point where you kind of need people that are a little more treating it as a job and not just I'm out here with my buddies to get to drink beer and get laid, right? I think
a lot of times I think you hope your friends want to stay involved and maybe become like a tour manager, but then when they do, they end up moving on from your band and going into a bigger band. So, but yeah, you definitely start with your friends, and then you're like, oh wow, we actually need a good light guy, we need a good sound guy, we need somebody who's responsible at the merch booth. So it ends up being a little bit more work than a friend thing, but you hope to be on the road with guys you call your friends, absolutely. And and TJ filled that role. He was really good at being happy right before tour and then miserable on the road, or at least acting like he was miserable. 27 days till we get to go home. 26 days. I hate being on the road with you guys, but I know he was joking a lot. But no.
Being on the road is weird like that. It's like working on a film. It's like you can't wait to get the hell away from these, and then as soon as you get home, you friggin' miss them. You
miss it,
like,
yeah.
It's really interesting. It's like working on a feature film. I can't wait for this to be over. you know, my brother calls them complainatrons. You know, it's like I'm on a crew of complainatrons, you know, and then as soon as it's over, you wake up a day or two later and you're like, I miss him, you know?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about this, which is Roadie, my documentary. I've seen the film. I saw its premiere at the Garden State Film Festival, right? That was a really great place. What inspired you to make this film? I know it was a long, hard road for you. Give us a little perspective on it.
Yeah, I mean, it's got such a story. I'll try and really sum it up quick. But I started to write a book about a kid from Jersey. I'm not a musician, but I kind of fell into this roadie world, and I started to just document the places I've been. And you know, my first couple tours to Europe, my mother's got this huge old school atlas, and she was highlighting where I've been, and she would take my fax copy of my itinerary and all this stuff. So I was putting that all together and story wise. And then I don't remember what year it was. I'm going to say 05 or 6 somewhere. A friend of mine from LA, a mutual friend that Brett introduced me to, who's in the TV business in LA, said, listen, there's this new thing that's going to be really big soon called reality TV. And your book is right in line for what we're doing. And put the book aside and let's work on a TV show, a reality show based around backstage. So I did that for a couple of years. I tried to make it happen. And then I was flying back and forth to LA, and I was acquiring footage, interviews. We were building relationships with all the bands, the crews, managements. It's so hard. And then just at one point, music legally, television legally, it collided, and I couldn't get anybody to budge, and it just cost so much money that I had to bag it. I put it to the side. And then it was 2013. Actually, Brett and I were up at Bear Mountain. Was it Bear? Brett?
So snowboarding, right?
Yeah. We want to, if you want to call it that.
Well, I was just snowboarding.
Oh, I remember it well. I shattered my clavicle there.
Oh, I fell so hard. Anyway, I had all this old footage from me with an 8mm on the road, new footage of interviews. I acquired so much great stuff. I didn't know what to do with it next.
So back when you were working for like AF, were you the guy that always sort of brought the video camera on the road? I
did. I bought it in brand new 8mm in '92 before I went with MOD, because we were going. It was a 32-day tour, but we were in like 26 different countries in those days. You know, you're bouncing around, and Billy, all business. It's no, 1 or 2 days off because it was travel days. And I was like, I'm not going to miss this opportunity. I wanted to film and document where I was going. And, every tour I did, I brought home 6, 7, 8mm tapes that I had. And it just accumulated to this wealth of great footage that I didn't know what to do with. I'm not a filmmaker, so I wasn't sure how to put those pieces together. And then I was with Brett, and we were talking about it, and just like, what to do next. And I was stuck, and I wasn't touring much, and I wanted to, when you're on the road, you want to go home. When you're home, you want to be on the road. And I miss my friends. And, Ignite would take me out for like when they did a week or so. We're going to have a day off in Austria. We're going to have a day off in Budapest, and you got to come to this festival. And we're doing this thing with Rise Against, and you got to come. So for me, it was more of a fun thing, but I worked as well. And then he just said, listen, you got probably something for a documentary. And I said, okay, yeah. All right, let me try to put something together. I wanted to come. Nothing's been ever done. You can't just Google, a roadie documentary or backstage documentary. So I wanted to put the full 30,000, feet view from the top looking down and explain to people what I did. But I didn't want it to be about me. And it just evolved and morphed, and it changed directions so many times on the storyline and the chapters. And, it was crazy.
Yeah, no, man. It's interesting. Brett, at what point did you become involved in the film?
I mean, like TJ was saying, kind of early on, I was helping him on the production side of things, doing these interviews when he was coming out in LA. He'd stay at my house. We'd go up to LA and do an interview, take a meeting, just try and capture footage for him so he would have more content, because we were just like, let's compile a bunch of content we can pull. Like, basically you're looking to pull like little like tags and clips and little like just quotes basically to tell these stories. Sometimes you get a good story, but that's what we were doing for a few years. And then I said, hey, let me take a shot at making the trailer for you, because I was shooting music videos with a buddy of mine, and so we put together this trailer for him. And
you have a passion for this type of thing as well.
It's fun. I like getting behind the camera. I like writing treatments. I like doing stuff like that. I don't do it as much as I would like to because of my schedule, but it's fun. You know, it's fun doing videos for your buddies' bands and having them be stoked and making a cool piece of art.
Yeah. For the uninitiated, TJ, a couple of highlights. Who do you interview in the film? You know, I know Ron Bumblefoot is in the film. He's a Jersey guy. Give us a couple of sort of the high notes.
Yeah, I interviewed so many people, and you know, we went out to get a couple of clips here and there, like Brett said, but they wound up being like, you know, hour and a half, 2 hour interviews. Sure. So there's so much to choose from. But you know, Lindsay Vinoy, who's Elton John's piano tech.
That's a big one.
He's great.
Yeah.
I mean, in the beginning, we were doing the TV show. We had to go. We flew to Vegas for the Red Piano Tour, and I had to put a clip together to show how you're going to portray Lindsay, because he represents Elton John and that whole camp. And I had to get their blessing before we can continue. And they were like super stoked on what I was doing. And I was trying to send a positive message, and we didn't know what channel it was going to be on. So everybody had questions. Monty Melnick from the Ramones was gracious. I sat with him for over an hour.
Yeah, I mean, Monty's a great New Yorker, you know.
Awesome guy. And there's a lot of history there. Monty Pittman, who's the guitar player for Madonna for a very long time, and also, you know, a metalhead was in Prong and stuff like that for a while.
Sure.
Those guys, I got to those guys through other guys. So I went to my friends first in the business, the guys I toured with that were on the Kiss tour and in Europe even. And we went out and did a week on the Persistence tour with Ignite, Agnostic Front, and Biohazard. I got blessings from all those guys to come out and do a week of filming backstage all over, you know, carte blanche, no union halls, no fees, no nothing.
Sure.
Mark MAD was super, super generous about giving us access. And that just led to, hey, I heard you're in town. You got to interview this guy. You got to catch him. He's on tour with Steely Dan. He's on. Tom Weber was on tour with Lyle Lovett at the time. In the city, Tom Weber worked for. He was Eddie Van Halen's guy for a long time. He was Poison. Meg McRae, who you guys know, long time in New York City. She was out with Bon Jovi. I went and filmed her. Roger.
You know, here's a shot. Hold on, excuse me. Here's a shot of you and Meg. You know, I kind of lost touch with Meg, and then seeing your film, I was like, wow, that's great. She's still in the business and she's doing big things. You know,
great.
Is she tour managing for Bon Jovi?
She was on the production. She wasn't a tour manager. She was in the management in the production office.
Right.
And then I met her again when she was out with Fish. I mean, just another great person, big heart, open arms for me for this whole project. She had to call Roger Moret to make sure that I was legit, that I wasn't just some guy posing as Roger's roadie, you know. But you get vouched for, and people say, no, you know, this is no bullshit. TJ is not gonna. He's not that guy that's going to portray you bad. Everybody that I interviewed, I always started off with, look, I am not here to get you indicted, divorced, or incarcerated.
Right.
I mean, you could share what you want.
Tell us about the time you snorted all that coke off the stripper's boobs. You know?
Yeah. That's another movie.
You know,
if I made that movie and told that story, we wouldn't be here today. I would be hiding.
Did you have one of the Allman Brothers guys on there?
Yeah, Chris Samarchik, who he's still out doing the lights for them. He does the that psychedelic light show for the Allman Brothers, and he's worked with the Dead. Great dude. We went to San Francisco and spent a week with him at the Fillmore. And I got, I went out there with one agenda to get a little bit of history about him and what he does. And he just opened up and went on all about the history of the Fillmore and that whole scene back in the day of the 60s and the 70s. Again, it just opened up doors. It was just crazy how the film evolves.
My favorite. Oh, go ahead, Drew.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say,
sorry.
so one of my favorite interviews that we did, it was Bumblefoot from GNR and McBob.
Rob's
Is
a
that
nice guy.
and McBob, right? TJ.
Right. Yeah.
And so we're up at a rehearsal studio in LA. I don't even remember which one. And we're in a side room filming him, do the interview for like 30 minutes, whatever. And then he goes, "Yeah, let's go in the room and I'm gonna, play some guitar." We're like, "Cool." So we go in there. We walk down the hallway. We walk into this room, and the entire Guns N' Roses band is in there. Like, he basically, "Yeah, you guys are gonna come into rehearsal," and we're like, we're kind of up against the wall. Like, we want to stay so out of their way. And they're like, "Hey, we're going to go through Rocket Queen." Duff walks in, grabs the bass. They start playing Paradise City. We were like, this is kind of a cool private concert. So there's been some fun moments in some of these interviews for me, but that was definitely the highlight, was like actually getting to sit there and watch and getting to watch Guns N' Roses, like, just kind of work through a song. Like, I would work through a song, like, "Oh, wait, let's and they're talking about like Rocket Queen and the song that they've been playing forever. And they're like, "What if we do this in this part right here?" And they're like working out these. It was cool to see like a band.
And Frankie Farrar was playing drums, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. We love that guy.
Yeah.
He's a New York guy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's been some fun moments like that during this journey that that TJ's allowed me to come on, that have been a lot of fun.
Yeah, well, Drew, it's like I said, you don't get to get those experiences or get the opportunity to get those experiences without being accepted into the family and being vouched for. I mean, if we were jerk-offs, they never would have said, like, "Come on in," because we wanted to get the B-roll type of shit. And then they were really cool and humble, and we did stay out of their way. I got goosebumps just listening to it. Like, what a great opportunity. I'm blessed and fortunate that I got to experience some of that.
Yeah. I mean, that's always the way it's been for me. I mean, not to take a step, not to get too heavy, but me being a teenager in a hardcore band and being there during the first wave of American hardcore has been sort of my badge that has really got me, in life, when you meet other people that oh yeah, okay, it's like a hardcore dude, and then it is led to so much in my life, as far as the fact that I was around, and my first hardcore show was 1981, and I grew up with all these guys and all that stuff, and that's led to so much, led to so much. Yes, Duff has hardcore roots. That is correct. Duff was in the Farts, I think, right?
One of my favorite bass players.
Yeah,
he's amazing.
He's a good dude, People are asking what platform it's on. We don't need to get into all that right now, because we'll go over all that, because that's another one of my questions. But hang in there. We're going to talk about what platforms the film is on. But I want to ask you guys, what was the hardest part about bringing this film over the finish line? TJ, you go first.
The hardest part. The whole thing was hard.
All of it.
Yeah, pre-production was hard when you're doing pre-production, and I funded this whole film myself. Every dime came out of my pocket. I paid everybody weekly. We would edit, and I had a great editor on the West Coast. I had a great editor on the East Coast. So it was a perfect team that we had, and I paid everybody. I didn't want to owe anybody anything, and that was the hardest part. Then trying to get interviews and navigating, Pink's on tour, and you have a small window to catch the Pink crew before they go to Australia. Trying to get, all right, so it's going to cost $6,000 for that, blah, 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 blah. So, all right, we didn't get that interview. So as you're filming, you're trying to get the people that you want to get in the movie.
Yeah. If
they're on tour and you miss them coming through, you're out. Then it was getting all your deliverables done and cleaning up the film so you can actually show people without getting sued. And then it's promoting, then it's film festivals, then it's trying to do all that. So that's hard. And now it's promoting, it's out. I spent more money to get it out legally and all that Hollywood bullshit. And now the hard part is talking to people like you and my friends. And I shouldn't even say my friends, because my friends that know me, they're going to watch the film because they know me. I need to show people that don't know me and break into different avenues of the genres that aren't hardcore or Skid Row, to get them aware. That's the whole thing's been hard.
Well, I think that one thing I learned about making these type of films, I've done a couple of them myself, is that sure, it's like, for instance, the Alago film, or I don't want to make it so personal. The what's it? The Story of Anvil, is that okay? The Story of Anvil.
Great movie.
The Story of Anvil wasn't so much about the band Anvil. It was about the friendship between these two guys. And that speaks to a bigger picture, and that's when your film can transcend, whatever small genre you think it might be, locked into. My Michael Alago film, isn't so much about the guy that signed Metallica, at 21 years old. It's really about someone that just loved music.
Yeah.
And a lot of us can relate to that. It's someone that, besides that he grew up in a challenging home life, gay, Brooklyn, downtrodden, he just loved music. And in the end, that transcended everything. And for documentary films that we make, that's what we hope to do with our films, is to be able to transcend it to a bigger level. And I think that your film, speaks on that bigger level. It's not just about, it's the inner work. It's just about a bunch of bands. It's really about that network, and also really the love that these people have, for music.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, Brett and I, when we did the first couple of interviews, and we filmed Brett on the beach as just like a placeholder, because I wanted somebody really famous to say the same shit that Brett was saying. Like I sell more copies of a movie. But it's so true. We wanted people to appreciate when they go to a show and they pay $100 a ticket, and now it's even more, what they're getting for the $100. To show them a little peek of what goes into these shows months before they hit the road, and what goes on. That was part of it. And with all my home footage I have of the partying and all this stuff, and then me getting sober and clean, there's more AA meetings at festivals now, backstage and intense, than there are basically keg parties and stuff.
Is that right?
There's a lot. If you're looking for them like me, there's a lot. I just celebrated 15 years clean, and that's one of the first things. On tour, you look for where's the meeting at? Who's a friend of Bill's? And you look for the signs.
That's really good to know. That's incredible. I mean, my days of sort of doing the festival circuit go back a ways. We played one or two, but that's really nice to know, man.
There's mental health things now too backstage. There's mental health, counselors, and there's pressure. It's really evolved into that thing. So, my movie, it's got a lot of my story that Andy really made happen in the thread of the film, of how it used to be just all partying and fun, and then a little bit more serious, and then cleaning up my act. So I relate to that recovery world as well. And it gives people a little bit of hope on that side of the things with live entertainment and music.
I want to bring on a friend of ours. He happens to be the distributor of a couple of my films, from Rugged Entertainment, Mr. Peter Spirer. What's up, man?
Hey, what's happening, guys?
Peter, hello, sir.
Hey, thanks for coming to my show the other night, bro.
You were great. I loved it.
You.
I loved it. Great stuff, man. Great stuff.
Thanks.
Yeah.
So we were just, thanks for coming. It was really nice to see you, and thanks for all you've done for my films and stuff. But we're talking about TJ's film, and I don't know if you heard it, but what we touched on is how, a lot of these documentaries, what you really want to do is transcend the sort of immediate message and get out there in a bigger space. Like the Alago film is not so much about the guy that signed Metallica. It's really about someone that just loved music, and that speaks to in a bigger way. And I mean, that's usually, you have a lot of experience doing this. You've been nominated for an Oscar and all that, but what drew you to this film?
I love the deep dive. Look, I love any of, what I think is great about documentaries is that you get a deep dive into that particular band or that particular part of the industry. With TJ's film, you get a deep dive into how this industry works. I think there are a lot of people that see it from the outside and they don't understand why, tickets cost what they do. You go to the shows and you spend all this money, like, all the support, all the things that happen, particularly, when rock and roll started out, you had a little amplifier, you plugged it in and you plugged in your guitar and that was it. Now there are all these effects and pedals, and the shows are spectacular these days. So, getting a sense of what that's all about. And, possibly, hey, I want to go into the music industry. I might not be a musician, but I want to be a part of it. It's a great thing to do, great opportunities,
Hey, Brett, is it easier to tour these days from is it a little bit easier, just the mechanics of it?
Well, it's crazy. It's gone through some different phases, right? So pre 9/11 was like the golden era because you could check in 72 items. It didn't matter if you were 10 minutes before your flight. You could, oh, sorry, I left my buck knife on my pants. It didn't matter. But then once the 9/11 stuff happened, they really clamped down on everything. That made the international travel, and that made, like, when we had to go to New York from LA to go do a weekend of shows or whatever, that made that more difficult. But then you have the whole internet opening and you can reach so many more people, and not only for your music, but like the information of the shows. Because like back in the day, if you didn't see the flyer down at Zed Records or Vinyl Solution or wherever, you missed the show. Or if you didn't go to a show the week before, now it pops up. I mean, dude, everything is right here, right? I mean, you go to bandsintown.com. I track my bands. I get alerts when somebody's coming to town. So the technology has ramped things up in a very cool way for bands for their reach. And so as far as touring goes, I would think now it's way easier, even with the hurdles of the post 9/11 era, which is 20 years of hurdles we've been jumping now.
Yeah, it's certainly a different world with, what are your analytics? Like bands are getting signed on, like, let me see what they're doing on Instagram and everything.
Totally.
Totally. Bands get signed off that now, and that's something a lot of the older bands or, like guys that are getting together and starting a band, in their later years sort of don't really get that part of it. It's like, these young bands are getting signed because they have 1 million followers on whatever,
Yeah. No, it's a different game now for sure.
Yeah. Peter and TJ, tell us about where can people see the film?
Peter, go ahead, buddy. This is all you. You're the man responsible for this.
Well, yeah. I mean, right now you can get it on Google Play, YouTube, Red, which, right now we're in the transactional video space. So that means you have to rent it. It's not very much. I think we have a very good price point right now to rent the film, but there is a small fee. And it's on those platforms. I think we're on Vudu as well. And we're looking to get on Amazon right now. Amazon changed the way they're doing everything. They're not taking any more nonfiction.
Yeah, that is really confusing. I know it's
started with those guys, but they change their corporate philosophy every 6 weeks anyway. But so I think the film right now, we've gotten a lot of attention for it, and people are reacting very positively to it. So I'm very, very happy with it. TJ, great job. I just have to talk to you about your lighting for your calls. I mean, you're in the dark, buddy. We need to set you up with something.
Next one.
Hey, what's Vudu? Is that a new platform?
Yeah, Vudu's a new platform, and I would tell people, don't get stuck on the Amazons and the Netflixes of the world. There are a lot of great other platforms like Tubi, Vudu. All of these things are much better for independent filmmakers.
What are they like? Rattle off a couple of what you think is the hot up and coming platforms. I mean, I hear Tubi a lot.
Yeah, Tubi, definitely. I mean, Tubi has 40 million people watching it. And the other great thing about it is you don't have to pay for it. You don't have to pay your $12.99. Now you have to, it's ad supported, but filmmakers get far better compensated on those platforms. Vudu, Tubi, Canopy, Fandango, all that stuff is really, broaden your horizon, I would say. Don't get just caught up in the Amazon, Hulu, and Netflixes of the world.
Well, I've been fortunate. I've had films on all those platforms, and
Yeah.
each one has its own way of really screwing you.
That's right, man. That's right.
Has their own very special way of really screwing you.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Without
Okay.
a doubt.
Rick says Voodoo is $4.99 a month. That's reasonable.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Not
bad. Hey, let me take my last sponsor break, and we'll come back and we'll take some questions around the world. Okay.
Sure.
Perfect.
All right. Here we go. What's happening? This is the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Our guests are Brett Rasmussen from Ignite, TJ Hoffman, director of Roadie, my documentary, and Peter Spirer from Rugged Entertainment, who personally has been involved in a couple of my films, including Who the F Is That Guy? The Fabulous Journey of Michael Alago. We are sponsored by the New York Hardcore Comics, The Organic Grill, the Texas Silver Rush, Chain Reaction Records and Skateboards, DTFM Vinyl Distro, Generation Records, and located in Corpus Christi, Texas, Chacho's Tacos. They opened their doors in 2001, home with the almighty Chacho's Taco. They cook up an incredible home-style Tex-Mex food, and this month they're celebrating their 20th anniversary. They've been supporting underground music since the beginning, and in their own words, we ain't stopping anytime soon. Touring bands that play Corpus Christi, swing by and get a home-cooked meal at Chacho's Tacos. We got you. The underground scene will never die. Please follow us on Facebook or on Instagram. Also, What's Up Joe Ramini, Texas represent. The Texas Silver Rush is a jewelry design firm and boutique store located in the birthplace of the Texas country music scene, located in Fredericksburg, Texas. Goddamn electric. They specialize in working with musicians in all music genres to design and create unique one-off pieces, as well as to style them for stage album covers, promo photos, and social media exposure. Their client list includes Rock Roll Hall of Famers Greg Rollet, Ringo Starr, and of course, Agnostic Front. During this current pandemic, all information and online sales are being taken at their Facebook and Instagram pages, and of course, www.thetexassilverrush.com. Want to announce a couple of shows coming up. November 17th, Wednesday, November 17th, from Overkill, Shadows Fall, Flotsam and Jetsam, and of course, upstate New York represent Mr. Jason Bittner's coming on the show. This should be cool. Jason's an old friend. That is November 17th. Also, super excited about having Andrew Klein from Strife on the show. That is November 10th. Here you go. Andrew Klein coming on the show. Strife, World Be Free, Berthold City, and War Records. So Andrew Klein. Also, this one I am real excited about this. Of course, I've been reading his book. You can't always get what you want. My Life with the Rolling Stones, the Grateful Dead, and other wonderful reprobates. Sunday, November 14th, coming at us from Australia. Really excited about. Ladies and gentlemen, the Rolling Stones. Former tour manager of the Rolling Stones and the Grateful Dead, Mr. Sam Cutler. Very excited about this. So here we go on that. Now this, I'm making the announcement on the show. Here we go. Sunday, November 28th. Listen, everybody could do the easy shows, but we do the hard ones. David Ellefson from the Lucid Ministry, ex-Megadeth, Attitudes and Attitude, T5. Come on now. If this was easy, everybody would be doing it. Let's bring Dave on the show. Let's hear what he has to say. We're going to talk music. And, listen, I feel bad. I was a little harsh on that dude before. But, man, we don't want to talk about what's punk rock and all that stuff here. You're not down with that. But I feel a little bad that I railed on that dude and chased him off the show. I want to apologize if you're still watching. I'm sorry. But, yeah, there you go. Yeah. Holy mackerel, said the kid. David Ellefson's coming on the show. People want to come on the show. We're very fortunate. You know, so there you go. Yeah, Jason's cool, good guy. What else? I just want to remind you about the New York Hardcore Chronicles book. The link just went up. A couple of people bought it, and I appreciate that. The New York Hardcore Chronicles Live, 1980 to 1989. It's out there now. If you are a patron, all you got to do is pay for the shipping, and you will get the book for free. That is the link right there. It's on www.stonefilmsnyc.com, numbered and signed by the author, moi. So there you go. Please buy the book. Please support the show, which a lot of you've been doing, and I really appreciate all that. Yeah, the bass line to Peace Sells. That's right. Absolutely. Yeah, bunch of heavy hitters coming up. Please, you got any questions for Brett or for TJ or Peter? Please feel free to post them up now. Don't be shy. Any questions about documentary films, how they get done, what goes on? Please, let's bring our guys back on. I think I covered everything. Yeah, why not? Let's bring them back on. Brett, TJ, Peter. Hey, man. Got a book coming out and everything else. Talk about perseverance, TJ. That one took me 5 years.
Yeah, I have 2 big giant travel golf bags that have posters from all my tours. Even like when you go backstage and the dressing room is the closet. I was that guy that went through and pulled out old tour posters from the 70s and 80s that pissed off people had in their closets. And then I'm sure I got a bunch of flyers. That's going to inspire me to go dig that stuff up. So
you gotta
cool.
Find that footage of us at that show. You said you might have,
Oh yeah, it's somewhere. I got probably 30 or 40 hard drives from the film. It's on there.
Eddie Medina from Powerhouse asks, Brett, what Ignite song pumps you up?
Well, so the song that we just put on the B-side of our new single was one of my favorite Ignite songs from 1994. And we stopped playing it around 96. In fact, our drummer, Craig, who's been in the band since 1997, has never played the song. So I am super excited that we're bringing that song back into the fold. Super excited on the new version we recorded with Eli, but the chance to get that song back into the regular set list is awesome. That song really gets me going. There's my boy.
Cool. Yeah. And wait, let me get this out of the way. Enough of me hawking my book. And like we discussed before, this is the new Ignite lineup with Eli singing, correct?
Yep, Eli in the middle with the hair, and the rest of the dudes that have been there since, I don't know, 20 plus years.
Pretty eclectic bunch,
Yeah, we're all over the board.
Sounds of Resistance asked, Brett, how far are you into writing the next Ignite album?
It's done. It's in the can.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, it's done. So next song will be coming out. I don't have a date yet, but yeah, the album's done. It's been mixed and mastered, and it's ready to go.
And this release is what, like a taste? These 2 songs are a taste.
So that's the first. That's Anti-Complicity Anthem is going to be on the album. The B-side is not. So this is basically the first single. I don't like calling them singles, but I like it's the first song off the record that's also coming out as a 7-inch, and then the next song will be the next single. And it's different now. So it's interesting because it used to be, and this is just me reinterpreting how the music industry has been working now. It used to be there'd be a build-up, and then your record would come out, and then the marketing would start. And you'd get 3-4 months of marketing once your record came out, a little bit before. But now it's really the rollout. It's really 6, 7, 8 months of rolling songs out one at a time every 6 weeks or so, and building up this hype leading up to your album. So and then once the album drops, it seems like it's not the end of the marketing campaign, but it's flipped. It's different now. So it's all the rollout, it seems to me now.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's different, which I like it better because as a band member, as a guy putting out a record, if you're just going to get a couple months of promo from your label, instead of like 6-7 months of like songs coming out 7 inches and videos. It's you get a lot more legs. You get a lot more bang for your buck, I think. Artists do now. Yep.
That makes a lot of sense. And Peter, we've certainly seen changes in the way that documentary films and films get out there in the past couple of years. I mean, there's been huge changes in our business, right?
Absolutely. I mean, sometimes there's a typical theatrical release that, some of these films get at a very, very high level. But, getting them out on these multiple platforms, I think is fantastic, particularly for some of the bands that may not be quite as big. And then, there are the festivals that we all go to, and, you can create a lot of awareness for film that way.
You were the first guy, you were the first guy that said to me, festivals are bullshit.
Yeah.
And because before that I was like, oh, we want to do festivals and this and that, and you were like, festivals are bullshit.
Yeah,
and,
the problem.
But I really learned a lot from that, because basically any of us, we could do the Drew, Brett, TJ, and Peter Film Festival and be like, hey, we're doing a film festival, $50 to submit your film, and a couple thousand people will submit their films, and we could screen a couple films on a dirty bed sheet. And a lot of these film festivals are really just money-making propositions, and they don't really do much for the filmmakers. Is that safe?
They
to
don't.
say?
I think that's a very fair assessment. I mean, let's take the Michael Lago film, for instance. I mean, you didn't get into what was it, Slam Dance or Sundance, whatever.
Bro, we didn't. Bro, the Lago film didn't even get into the Gay and Lesbian Film Festival.
Yeah,
it didn't even get into the Brooklyn Film Festival. And the guy's a friggin' gay, grew up in Brooklyn.
I know. I mean, and to put it into perspective, I can guarantee you this, because I know what those films did that did get into those festivals. Your film was far more successful on every level. I mean, you got a Netflix deal. None of these films get Netflix deals. It's unbelievable to me that, the problem is, I think some of these festivals have good intentions, but you get a group of people that bring their own agenda, that have their own thing, and then you're expecting them, and usually these are pretty young people that are picking the films, and they don't know what the hell they're doing. I mean, I think there, unfortunately, very few festivals are curated really properly with people that know what they're doing. But then you've got the other side of it, where the festival wants like some star in the film, and if you don't have that, then you don't go anywhere. So,
one thing I did learn about when we got the Netflix deal, which was interesting, was that the Netflix. Let's be frank, the Ilago film got on Netflix because Cyndi Lauper, Metallica, John Lydon, Phil Anselmo, Rob Zombie. When we got the deal, I thought, well, now I got to go back and do a whole re-editing. And you said to me, they don't care. They don't care. It's these. It's the names. They picked up the film basically because of the names. And one great thing about that was they never had. I put out the film that I wanted to make. TJ, do you feel like you put out the film you wanted to make?
In a way, like I said earlier, it changed courses so many times. I wanted to be that like the full circle encompassing the full real documentary, and really dig deep to the business and how it works and everything, and paint the picture. And then, like I said with Andy, he saw a lot of my home footage, and it morphed into more of my story. There's always changes that you think you could do better. I should have said this. Oh, we missed this part. This was such a profound statement that this guy said that I didn't get in. But at the end of the day, Drew, it's done. I could go back and re-edit 100 times, but I'm just proud that I got a chance to finish it, say it's done. Right. And I did had a fun little, it was like a band. I had a band. I worked with a lot of cool people. Thank God, everybody but 2 people that I've ever talked to were behind the film. 2 people. One guy said, I don't want you to use my footage. And the other guy was not interested in being filmed once I got set up. Everybody else was super cool.
Listen, there's always bumps on the road and stuff like that. And, you know, making films. It's like being in a band a certain way. Making films, a lot of compromise involved. And you know, if you don't want to compromise, you know, you gotta you know, start a solo band or make it 100% or whatever. And I think it's like we discussed before, Brett, that your professor said, you got to be able to play with the other kids in the sandbox, or inevitably in the end, you're just not going to have any longevity in this friggin' business, in the film business or the music business.
It's all the
But
same.
you know, one thing I would say too is people don't realize how hard it is. I mean, particularly documentary filmmaking. When you make a feature film, let's say something you go to the movie theater to go see, a narrative feature film, there's a script. With a documentary, you have to figure out what that story is without a script. And that is a very difficult thing, you know, to keep people's attention for an hour and a half. You know, try telling a story for 2 minutes and see if people pay attention. But, you know, now you got an hour and a half to deal with, you know.
Absolutely. Hey, Brett, my blender says, I once saw Ignite in 2000 without a singer. Before the show, I was very disappointed. After the show, me and my friends were happy to have witnessed Ignite with Brett singing. Still a great band. Did you sing for some shows?
Well, okay. So Zoli was singing for the Misfits at the time. And he was on that tour, and he got stuck in the States for a couple extra days. And we started this tour in the UK. We were out with Agnostic Front. And so we just did the shows as a 3-piece. We kept it a short set. We didn't want to not play. I mean,
yeah, right.
It wasn't the same thing, but things change.
But we did it. And Jonathan Buskey, our good friend and supporter, Buskey Design, says, "Hey, that new song is great. The new song is great, as is the new version of Turn. Is it Turn 21?
Yeah, Turn 21, 2021. Buskey, thank you, my brother.
Yeah, I love Buskey, man. Good dude. Actually, Buskey is out right now. I don't know if they're out right now, but Buskey's back playing bass in Terror again.
Love it.
Yeah, Buskey's in Terror again.
That's how I met him. We did the tour with how was it that? I met him when he played in Terror.
Eddie Powerhouse says, I got to see Ignite for 6 weeks straight. I'll never forget.
That was a European tour.
That's always fun, man, when you tour with a band and you see him night after night.
Try living with Eddie on a bus in Europe.
Yeah.
That's a different story.
Eddie's the best. Come on.
Philippe Horsch says, sup, guys. Big shout out to my bro, Brett. Can't wait to hit it again.
He's from Croatia. He works with us on the road sometimes when we're over there.
Let's all field this one here. What was the scariest location you shot at? What was the scariest show club you've played? TJ, take that any way you want. And any sort of challenging situations being a filmmaker or when you're out there tour managing?
So filming, the hardest part is to get access, right? I would get the crews, management, even the band to sign off on me to go film the road crew, whether it was backstage on the bus, parking lot. I just wanted the crew, and I would get everybody's blessings, show up to the venue, and the union house or the shop steward, they wanted a facility fee, $5,000. You can't carry your camera bag. It's $2,500. We did 5-Finger Death Punch in Long Island, Nassau Coliseum in like 2006 or 7. They were just breaking. They were playing small stages at these festivals. And Bobby Watson was the drum tech, and we got all this stuff. I had to hide the camera because they wanted to charge me $2,500 for a union guy to carry my bag. And then we did, the farewell thing with Motley Crue. A lot of my friends were on that tour. So it wasn't scary. It was getting caught. It was trying to pull these interviews off in a remote location so you didn't get caught to pay the fees for all that stuff.
Well, that rings a bell, right, Peter? All that you're in Hollywood. Like the thing about Hollywood is like, you want to fart in Hollywood. They have a fucking price list for it, man. It seriously, like, I've worked out every time, and you have people like, you want to shoot, you got a guy that starts up his lawnmower and knows that someone's going to have to come and pay him off, it's amazing, right, Peter?
Oh yeah. I mean, I've had artists where, oh yeah, don't worry, you can film me, no problem. You get there, oh, you got to pay $1,200 for the makeup artist. $1,200
Right.
for the makeup artist. I mean, come on, really? Yeah. I mean, there's always, if you're a filmmaker, there's a million ways to get jacked. There's no question about it.
Yeah.
The government's one thing, and then you get these people, and they all have their hand out. You got to be careful.
For sure.
Brett, any challenging situations through the years? Maybe early on in the game when you guys
early on in the game for sure. It was funny. It was a consistent theme where you would pull into a city anywhere across America, and you'd be like, "Oh, this is cool. This is rad." And you're in the good part of the city, and you're looking at the Thomas Guide, and you're trying to find the street and the name of the venue or whatever. And then about 15 minutes later, of driving, you get to the part of town with the Jesus Saves sign, and a lot of venues for punk rock and hardcore bands were in the really crappy neighborhoods because that was where they could afford to do shows, they could. And so we played a bunch of like places where dudes were next door. You'd see the things slide open and guys were getting alcohol and weird drugs and stuff. A lot of that going on on our 95 US tour. We were out with Integrity. We did a run with Earth Crisis. A lot of really crappy venues on those tours.
Yeah. Got it. Never ask film for permits. Listen, RS-70, all that early stuff that we shot, like Biohazard, when we came over the Brooklyn Bridge, we didn't have permits. But nowadays in New York City, man, you try to pull something like that, forget it, bro.
The subway, filming on the subway, Drew.
Yeah. Listen, I've been near. Me and Paris Mayhew talked about this. When we did the Run DMC video that I have that gold record for, we shot in the park and the bathroom was locked. And I told the guy, I said, clip it. And when the cops showed up, they said, who clipped the lock? And I said, look, I didn't clip the lock, but I clipped the lock. And like they were going to arrest me. They had me cuffed. This is going back a couple of years. But they realized if they arrested me in front of like 300, 400 people in the park, they would have had a bigger problem on their hands. So it was like mutually assured destruction. I know this is a little off topic, but there's a lot of these fans out there. What is the biggest misconception about Kiss? TJ, maybe just from your experience in working with them real quick.
Yeah, I mean, listen, we were the opening act on that tour, and I was very fortunate and blessed to be a part of it, to witness, 120 something shows. The misconception, I mean, there's so many stories. Look, they're a business, they're an entity, they're smart marketing, they're geniuses when it comes to all that. You could talk to those guys. I mean, every one of them always used to come into our dressing room and just talk about, Paul Stanley wanted to know how the chocolate cake was in catering and dessert. And sometimes Ace wanted to know if there was an extra beer around, and would just sit down and just talk. They're just humans, just like us. They put their socks on the same way we do. Misconceptions, look, they're business. It's a business, and they take their job very serious. But man, they're doing it in their 70s, and it's still a hell of a show. So take it for what it's worth.
The reason that I threw it was a little off topic out there is because, Peter, I know you're friends with those guys, so maybe you could add some perspective to it.
Well, I'll just say I just interviewed Paul, and I went. If you were a Kiss fan, you would have died and gone to Kiss heaven. This place was unbelievable. They had thousands of instruments, thousands of amplifiers. I mean, I've never seen anything like it. I mean, it was the size of a Costco with everything Kiss.
Oh, their warehouse?
Their warehouse.
Their warehouse?
I mean, it was, I couldn't, every logo they've ever had, every banner they've ever had, all their merchandising, and then Paul's painting all this stuff, and I had such a blast, man. He's such a great guy. And what I loved about Kiss was that they understood their audience. They understood what their audience wanted. They wanted to make sure, the first couple of concerts I saw were like Charlie Daniels and Eric Clapton, and they were so disappointing to me. And then I see Kiss, and I'm like, oh my God, this show's unbelievable. The energy. I actually, the first time I saw them, they opened up for 38 Special. Imagine that, right? It was right before Live. And,
Wow.
They come out, the show's over. Nobody even stayed for 38 Special. It was like you couldn't follow that. You know what I mean? And it was just they knew that they were trying to connect with the person at the back of the auditorium.
That's great. That's
Yeah.
great. Hey, and I know this is kind of obvious, but Brett, maybe you could lend some perspective. We're heading down the home stretch here. Is touring worldwide still uncertain because of COVID? I mean, obviously, but Brett, this is in a big way. This is your career, your livelihood, and your love. I mean, where do you think this is going, brother?
I mean, we're all optimistic, right, that it's not going to affect too much. But friends of mine that were supposed to be out on tour coming up real soon, Strike Anywhere and Be Well, both just pulled off the Comeback Kid tour because of COVID. And so it's affecting shows daily, and stuff's still getting shut down. But we're all optimistic that looking forward that it's going to get less and less and less. And to when hopefully next year sometime it won't really be a factor, because there's festivals going on. We just had friends out. Rise Against just did a big tour. The Bronx is out with Dropkicks and Rancid. So there's big stuff going on, but there's going to be those situations where it's going to affect it, and some shows are going to get shut down.
That makes a lot of sense. Eddie Ahmed says, "How do I watch Who the F is?" Well, it just so happens that we have just struck a new distribution deal with Rugged Entertainment. When the film did 3 years on Netflix, it came off that. We got the property back from the distributor. The distributor went under. We went through some legalities. We got the film back. We just struck a deal with Peter and Rugged Entertainment. And hopefully, Peter, we're going to get the film back out there, right?
Yeah, hopefully we do another one of these with Michael. I know how excited you are about that, Yeah, I couldn't resist, man.
Yeah, thanks, bro.
But
I love Alago. It's his birthday today.
It is.
So,
it is.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Michael.
Yeah, I love Alago. He's like family.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
but we'll get it out far and wide. If you haven't seen the film, you have to see the film. It is wonderful. But I'd say that about TJ's film too. I love his movie.
Yep.
Thank
you.
Hey,
I guess is there a tender way to address this, Brett? Can you please touch on why Zoli left the band? Please, maybe what's the company line, brother?
Well, I mean, so here's the deal. Zoli put in 25 years to this band, and not only just to Ignite, but the punk and hardcore he was in. Pennywise for a full album cycle. It had a single on K-Rock. Toured with the Misfits. He sang on Social Distortion Records, Motorhead Records. He's done it all. He's toured the world, and Zoli really doesn't have to answer to anybody about what he's doing or why he did it. He's got as much credit as anybody I know, and he left for his reasons, and that's pretty much all I really have to say about it. You put that much time into something, into a music scene, into a band, you can do whatever you want. He doesn't know an explanation to anybody.
Absolutely. Here we go. Look who just showed up as we're ready to close the Gitter. What's up? We said nice things about you on today's show, Gitter. That's great. You're in good hands over there at Century Media with Mike Gitter. He's great at what he does. Great. And Gitter, Gitter was very close friends with Scott Koenig. He lived with him, and I'm thinking a lot about Scott now that I'm off the road, and it's heavy, man. It's starting to hit me. Yeah, Gitter. Yeah. Good things, but the whole Scott Koenig thing is really starting to really hit me, man. It's really, really very sad, man.
Yeah.
Eric says, thanks for the answer, man. I love the new song. Cheers.
Thank you, sir.
All right, good. Well, there you go. Hey, I want to thank you guys for coming on the show. We had a lot of fun, and that's the currency we deal with here on the New York Hardcore Chronicles Live. Peter, you want to shout anybody out? You want to thank anybody?
I want to thank you. I want to thank you for putting this together. I think you have a great show. I love seeing you play the other day. I all those years we knew each other and never got to see you guys. So that was a thrill in itself. And I want to thank TJ for making a wonderful film, and nice to meet you, Brett.
Likewise. And thank you, TJ, for putting this whole thing together, getting me on here, letting us promote our new singer, our new song, our new album. Well, we're not promoting the album yet, but yeah, thank you for this opportunity and connecting the dots with me and Drew again.
Peter, I'll talk to you soon, and let's get. I got to get you that contract. I'll talk to you later.
Okay, great.
All
Take
right.
care.
Bye, Peter. Thank you.
All right, there you go. Listen,
Very cool. Thanks for that, Drew. That was a surprise.
we deal with surprises here and there,
I love it.
I thought it would be cool, add some perspective, and I thought that it did. It's cool.
Definitely.
TJ, you want to shout anybody out? Thank anybody on the way out the door?
I mean, listen, thank you for everybody that's had anything to do with this film and this production and my music and the hardcore family. And of course, Brett is the Ignite guys, and Brett been like a family to me, and I consider them all brothers. And, Drew, I talked earlier about, 6 degrees of New York hardcore, 6 degrees of Agnostic Front. And I just want to send out, besides, what's going on with the recent passings of some really important people in the scene, Roger from AF is going through some health things right now. And they were forced to take me with them when Billy was managing them, and they welcomed me into their family. And thank you for the AF family for bringing me and giving me the opportunity. Without that opportunity, my career probably would just ended with MOD, and then that was it. But fortunately for me, it opened up so many more doors and so many great people that I've met in the States and in Europe and Brazil and Argentina and all over the world. And it all goes back to Roger and Vinny for giving me that chance. I mean, Laurent, thank you, my bro from Paris, and Hoax and the MOD days. I mean, this is such a great, great honor to be involved in the scene. And, all my prayers and love go out to Roger and his wife and Vinny, his other wife, and that whole family. So, thank you, Drew, for putting this together.
Of course, it's what I do. And Roadie the film, reel off a couple of the platforms.
Yeah, so it's Google Play, and everything's all the updates, everything that's going on between the podcast and the promotions and the screenings and the platforms. It's all on roadiefilm.com. I try to keep up with it as best I can. I'm not a tech nerd, so you have to be patient. But everything's through the website.
Fantastic. Thank you, TJ. Let's keep in touch, buddy.
Thank you, man. Love you guys.
Love you too, bro. All right.
Bye, TJ.
Well, it's you and me, bro.
Hey, what do you want to talk about?
I think we covered a lot, and I want to thank you for coming on the show. It was great. And I wish you all the best, man. I think that you got a great singer, you have a great band, and you have a big heart, and you're committed to doing what you're going to do for years, and your passion rings true, man. Anybody you want to shout out or thank on the way out?
Well, just want to thank you, and I just want to thank everybody for giving me and the Ignite guys the opportunity to really just do the band and have fun, because, I mean, that's the whole thing that what we wanted to do. We just wanted to continue having fun, enjoying writing music, touring together, and we can't do that without everybody out there. So, and dude, the New York hardcore scene has embraced us as big as any scene in the world since day one. So, I mean, it's kind of our home away from home when we in America.
We love you for sure. All right, Brett, let's keep in touch. I'll talk to you soon.
All right, my brother. Thank you.
Take care. Bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Great show, man. Thank you, D. Thank you. I'm very fortunate. I'm doing something that I really love doing, and you're enabling me to do it. Thank you, Chris. Thanks for tuning in. I'm glad you enjoyed it. Joe Frank, my man. Thank you, bro. It was great. Kevin Haggerty, Heggs, I love you, bro. Rest in peace, Sharpie. Rest in peace, Sean Kilkenny And rest in peace, Scott Koenig. I miss you already. Sucks. On Sunday's show, Frankie Bello. Please tune in. This is going to be a really good one. One of the really great guys. In a sea of real lowlives. Frankie Bello is. Thank you, Obscure Games, and thank you, Philip, and Sounds of Resistant. You know, there you go. Gitter, man. You know, hey, Gitter, I'm thinking about doing like a Scott Koenig maybe tribute show. Maybe you could come on, man. Bring on a couple of friends because, you know, a lot of people here on the East Coast aren't going to be able to do that rainbow thing. I made your Wednesday. Well, good. That's fantastic. And just a reminder, everybody, the book is out. Please don't be shy. Just go on www.stonefilmsnyc.com. Order the book. It's $24.95 plus shipping. You know, I'll sign it. They're all numbered. I'll sign it, you know, and all that. Oh, hi, Jefferson Graham. Hi. Are you just tuning in? We're 2.5 hours through the show. Hi and goodbye, brother. Drew, this show is great. You're bigger than Joe Rogan. Listen, I thank you. Yes, I am. Well, Jefferson Graham, I'm glad you're here for the grand finale. Sorry you were on a call. A call for 2.5 hours? Good Lord, man. Sounds important. Huge fan of Peter Spirer. Oh, well, we had Peter on already, man. All right. Well, listen. You can watch it. You can watch it. It's archived on. It's archived on YouTube. Dude overslept. Yeah. All right. Thanks, Hegs, man. I'll probably see you on Sunday. That's the book. We'll see you for Frankie Bello on on Sunday. Did I cover everything? Am I missing something? I'm prettier than Joe Rogan. Let's not get carried away. I have the ability to pull it together before I sit in front of this computer, but I used to be a lot prettier. But there you go. Pick up the book. That said, thanks a lot. We'll see you on Sunday. I love you. Thanks for supporting me. Until then, please, my friend, my associate, do good things. And I'm telling you, good things will come to you.